Is it
a far more I walk around at 170, so getting to bantamweight is a struggle, and I feel like the juice just wasn't worth the squeeze in the sense of my performances and how I felt and my recovery. When I do something, I don't do it by halves. Like, I got my blood work done and analysed in both camps, and it was like night and day. So that was the main reason, that was the main kicker to put me into a better position and to be a better athlete, not just to be a better weight cutter. But we've seen everything develop from a grappling, striking perspective, conditioning, you name it. We've more than ticked the box. I felt like I used that phrase a lot, tick the box. But that was kind of what I was doing, because I was pulling myself into sessions while I was jumping into sessions for this camp.
Obviously, you've had a good bit of time now to look at that. The fight was announced a good while ago.
Yeah.
What do you think of him as an opponent now, with, I suppose, a bit more tape study and a bit more preparation on your own side?
Yeah, he's a good fighter. He's someone that excites me. Like, when you're a mixed martial artist and you want to fight at the highest level, you want to fight the best guys. This guy's on a 12-fight win streak. The motivation is to snap that win streak. He's good, but I'm better, and I'm going to show that. But yeah, all credit to him, and we'll see on Saturday night how it goes. Thank you.
Hey, Brian. Obviously, the Irish fighting scene, it's starting to really come alive. I was just wondering, what do you think about some of the prospects coming through and kind of where we are as a nation in the fighting game?
Yeah, we're always doing well, and you can see it now across multiple promotions and on the local scene too. I think we're phenomenal as a small nation. And what the coaches and what fighters are doing in Ireland is huge, and I think it's just going to keep progressing. It's always impressive to see the younger guys coming up. It's always impressive to see, the development, from an amateur and a professional, what they're doing. So it's, let's onwards and upwards. Nice t-shirt, Graham.
Thanks. Obviously, Otto Rodriguez, he has only fought once in the last 5 years, but he has a pretty good record going back a lot of years. Have you looked at any of his old fights, or do you consider them just irrelevant? They're so old, or?
No, there's always tendencies and traits, and this is not a dig at him, but like, you look at his last fight, he looked good. But you look at his fight 5 years ago and 6 years ago, he looked good. He just he's a solid guy, very good heavy top game. His strength is his strength. He's physically a big guy. That's why you see me sparring with the likes of Darragh Kelly, who's pretty fucking big for a featherweight, isn't he? But pretty big for a lightweight. But he is good. But yeah, I've been looking at a lot of his tape. I feel like I have his number. But again, the bell has to go on Saturday night, and I have to go out and perform, and that's what I plan on doing.
There's recently a lot of your fights seem to be kind of really good guys that are unknown, that are kind of flying under the radar, that maybe even if you beat them, don't really do that much for you in terms of making a statement. Yeah. Have you been frustrated with that? Do you think you've kind of earned a bigger name?
Yeah, well, look, that's kind of I knew I'd get that question. I always get those questions, but like, that's not in my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is to train, to make weight, and to fight and perform. And like, I can only do what I'm doing. I feel like I'm doing the right things. I'm pushing promos. I'm fucking putting on good performances. So, keep winning the category. That's my take on it. And the guys I'm fighting are great. Add up their records. You know what I mean? They're very good. But I'm doing very well. And I think this new move to featherweight, I'm going to even do much better.
Patrick?
Hey, Brian. Sadly, I am virtual, but
Hang on,
Otto's
Patrick.
debut. It's hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
Go ahead.
All right. Otto's debut has been long awaited. What do you expect from him? And him not having fought for 2 years. How much of your tape study has been, or how much of your camp has been rooted in tape study? And do you expect any differences from what you have seen and what you will see on Saturday night?
Yeah, I think if you don't study tape, and I've been guilty of it in the past myself, you're not utilizing all your advantages. So I have studied. Like I said, he's a good wrestler. He's a good top game guy. He has some good strikes as well. But every fight that he fights, he looks quite similar. I can't see him going out and throwing spinning wheel kicks or being a southpaw anytime soon. I think he's going to be bringing the same kind of pressure in your face, grappling style. But we've worked very hard on that. But we've worked hard on all aspects. I feel like I can out grapple him. I can feel like I can out strike him. So I'm excited. He's a great opponent, and that's what excites me. I want to fight the best in the world.
And your last 3 fights have been in Dublin. How special has that been? How excited are you to get back out there?
I think I got that. Can you actually
one more time?
Your last 3 fights have been in Dublin. How special has that been? How excited are you to get back in front of that crowd again?
It's amazing. It's absolutely, it's very hard to explain how unbelievable an experience it is. And it's something that each time now I come up to Dublin, I try to be very present with it because, careers don't last forever, especially in sports. And, you want to make the most of it. Every time I bump into the Bellator guys or anytime I make that walk for the Irish crowd, I'm very, very privileged to do so. And there's another opportunity on Saturday night, so I'll be present and and I'm excited to do so yet again.
Thank you.
Santiago.
Hi, Brian. Thank you for the time. It's an SBG party at Bellator 299 on Saturday. And I heard you say that you did your camp with Darragh. How was the energy in the gym? And is there always a good camaraderie between the John Kavanagh boys?
Always. I am part of SBG for over a decade now. And it's always amazing. But it was kind of a different camp because I was with the bigger boys this time. My main training partners were Darragh, Pedro, Peter, the bigger boys. And rather than all of the bantamweights I would have previously been with. So it was different, but it was super enjoyable. Everyone was just on top form for this one. And I think if that's any indication to go by, it'll be a big night for SPG.
So is that normally something you don't do? Train with the heavier guys? Was it more tough, or how would you explain that?
No, I actually really enjoyed it. I felt back to myself. At bantamweight, the camps were tough because recovery just isn't there. Injuries are more prevalent. And I felt like a bit frail and fragile coming into a lot of sessions. But this one, I felt like a little tractor. I felt like I couldn't be stopped. So it was good mixing it up with the bigger boys. They got a bit of a fright, I think, but it was nice.
So Bellator is showing Ireland a lot of love with 2 events every year, which is pretty special. Do you appreciate this from the company? And why do you think they love Dublin so much?
I think if you look at any of my interviews, I'm always very appreciative of Bellator. They've given me a career in this sport to provide for my family and then some, which is amazing, and to showcase all the hard work I've put into this sport. But they love Ireland because we've the best fans in the world, hands down, pound for pound. The arena is always electric, and like I said in a couple of questions ago, it's an absolute privilege to walk in front of that crowd. It's unbelievable. It's something it's deathbed shit. That's one of the things you'll think of on your last moments is walking in front of that crowd in the Tree Arena.
Thank you so much for the time. Cannot wait to see you perform again. Good luck on fight night, sir.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Happy days. Thanks, lads.
Each.
Kenny, another big fight in the Tree Arena on Saturday night. You must be getting used to it now.
Yeah, man, I'm getting used to it. You see, I'm even early for once. I think this is my first media day, so I'm getting better all around. Yeah, I can't wait to show like my improvements.
I was talking to your brother friends a couple of weeks ago, and he obviously has a big fight coming up next week. Did you do much preparation together for your two fights coming up around the same time?
No, he usually does his own thing. Obviously, I get advice from him here and there about just career stuff and that, check me outside the cage and things what to do and that. But he just does his own thing, and then I do my own thing. Sorry, and then because obviously we're different styles and that. So if I need him for a camp, but our opponents are not like each other, you know what I mean? So it doesn't make sense. So I just go with what matches what the fight will look like, you know what I mean?
Who are the main people who are using as preparation in the gym for this one?
Loads of bit main one. I was with Nathan for a few weeks. Darragh Kelly usually. Few of the amateurs boys. I have the home in my corner there. We're always working together, good friends. And basically the whole team, but Shane Mullen as well. There's too much. I'll be here all day saying like too much of names. You know what I mean? I did this, but it's a good camp. Yeah.
What do you think of your opponent? Obviously, when we saw the matchup being made, it's one top prospect against another top prospect. Do you kind of see it that way? That there's room for one of you, and that'll be that.
I don't. To me, obviously on paper, when you look on paper, 5-0, 5-0, it's a good matchup, yeah. But see, when I was fighting last time, yeah, the guy was 3-4 or something. I actually honestly thought your man was. I think your man is more dangerous. Craig, what's his name? Craig and McIntosh. Yeah. I actually thought he was more dangerous. I don't take too much into the record. I don't dig too much into that. You know what I mean? I look at what he has, who he's fought, and I don't think he's fought anyone like me, or even close. White man over there in the corner.
And you had 2 fights in the Tree Arena so far, 2 fourth-round wins. Are you hoping for a bit of a longer fight on Saturday? Would you be happy to do nice and fast again?
Negatives and positives in both, isn't it? But longer both are good, but we'll see what happens. I'm ready for either one. So whatever comes. Yeah.
You mentioned there a minute ago you're kind of getting used to all this stuff now. It's your first media day. Do you feel like you've grown as a fighter and as a person since your debut last year?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, every month, even the way I'm not rushing around anymore. You see me, I'm here on time and shit. Just even this thing is gonna make the fight more easier. Everything, I'm not running around. I'm more relaxed and all. I don't have to rush. So I think it's gonna be my best performance. Yeah, I think even if it goes longer. Yeah.
No more questions, mate.
Kenny, obviously you've had an extensive kind of up and down amateur career before turning pro, and your opponent has kind of had an unblemished career up until now. Do you think that momentum and thing will give him an extra confidence? And do you think that having lost that amateur, talk about maybe how you use that to grow and what you learn from them amateur losses? Yeah,
100%. What I was saying, I think in this fight, the most dangerous thing for me with him, I think, is that he's actually this guy's a winner. You know what I mean? Even if he's fighting bums and shit, he's still fucking very consistent, and he's kept that throughout his amateur career as well. So but me, I just feel I've been fighting the best in the country. I've been fighting at welterweights. I've been fighting welterweights, weighing in my toes and all. Do you know what I mean? When I was an amateur, so I'm a featherweight now. Only my last 3 fights. And you see yourself how my fights are looking these days. I'm a different animal. I hope he's looking at my amateur background and looking at them fights back in the day, because that's a different grave altogether. You know what I mean?
What do you think clicked for you since turning pro? You had some very good wins at amateur, but you also had some losses. What do you think has changed that has made you kind of so much improved as a pro?
Yeah, the key is just to be well-rounded. So I've just obviously improved, tweaked little things. I wasn't a bad amateur at all, but I just had to tweak a few things for MMA, maybe up against the cage, just little things in the clinch here, the little small details that John and Dave are showing me, and I'm learning off. Obviously I'm sparring with the best in the country now, and the little things that will change a fight. That's the little things that I've adapted into my game now.
Hi.
So with this being your first media day, with every win, the spotlight's going to keep growing.
Yeah.
What does that do to you? Does it increase the pressure for you, and are you someone who maybe performs better under pressure?
Yeah, man. You know me, man. Pressure is basically my middle name. You get me? My name's the Black Diamonds. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. I love pressure, man. Even when I'm not fighting, I miss this. You know what I mean? I miss this scared feelings. You know what I mean? I love it. This shit. I'm ready for as much pressure as more pressure, the bigger the reward, and that. So bring most pressure on. Yeah.
Are you someone who likes to slow cook your career, or do you want to do big jumps?
I think after this I'll be ready for a step up. Obviously not a world title or something, anyway, but obviously I know that. But after this, I think maybe a step up. But we'll see. I think slow. I'm still young. I'm still young in my career, so there's not a big rush. I'm going to be here for a while now. Yeah,
for sure. And of course, another one in Dublin. What means more to you? Do you prefer fighting in Dublin, or would it mean a lot to fight something overseas?
Yeah, it would be cool. I tried to get a fight overseas straight after the next day after Bellator. I actually jumped over the cage. Yeah, it's like, dude, man, yeah, Bellator Paris. It didn't work out, but what's it? Yeah, man, I'd like to be more active, and fighting here in Ireland, obviously, there is negatives and positives to both ways, going overseas and obviously traveling and then staying here, selling tickets, and obviously everyone fucking dealing with selling tickets and shit. It's a bit stressful and that, but I don't mind either way. What do they say? A champion can adapt to any situation, so I can adapt to anything. Yeah, and I'll fight overseas, I'll fight here, I'll fight in the backyard and anywhere really. So yeah.
Thank you,
Santiago.
Hi, Kenny. Hello from Amsterdam. Thank you for the time. Kenny, you are one of the younger guys fighting right now in Bellator. How is Bellator treating you, and does it feel good for you that you are in a major MMA organization?
Where's that going?
I'm virtual. I'm online.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Cool. Obviously, I'm delighted to be in the position I'm at. Obviously, I've only 5 fights in my professional career, and to be on one of the biggest shows, biggest promotions in the world is obviously I'm obviously grateful to be in this position, but at the same time, I feel like I make these prelims better as well. Do you get me? I feel like, do you get me? I feel like after this, I feel like maybe we'll talk, we'll see what happens next, and I feel like I want bigger or whatever, bigger paychecks and shit like that. So man, I feel like I could be a bit more respect on my name, but I'm grateful. I'm honored to be on Bellator. Yeah, blessed.
Your opponent from Rails is also undefeated at 5-0, but he is set to make his Bellator debut. Were you nervous for your own Bellator debut, Kenny? And do you think this will play a part in your opponent's first walk to the Bellator cage?
Nah. I feel like we're both experienced enough, and even though we're young in our careers, I feel like we're both experienced enough. It's just I get nervous for all my fights. It doesn't matter if it's Cage Legacy, Bellator. I'm gonna get nervous for any of them. Do you know what I mean? So it's just another fight. I expect what I expect, and it's just me and him in the cage. It doesn't matter what show it's on. You know what I mean?
Dylan.
What's up, Kenny? All but one of your fights have ended with a first round finish. What about you or your mindset separates you from the rest?
I don't know. I don't really think too much into what other people are thinking. All I can do is focus on my game. I'm just, my game is always attacking, always putting the pressure on. And this time will be different. Just obviously a few more tweaks that we've tweaked this camp that we think I could do better. Obviously, my performances in the first round have been good so far. But my coaches obviously can pick out little things that will make the fight even better for me. You know what I mean?
Awesome. And last from me, what can fans in Dublin expect from you on this coming weekend?
Yeah, man. Obviously, expect the usual, man. I'm gonna rep the SA flag here, the Ireland flag here, and the Blanche and D15 in here. You know what I mean? So I just want to say thanks to everyone that's supporting and that. And yeah, I'm gonna put on a show like I always do. I'm gonna bring it. Yeah.
Thanks, Kenny.
All done. Yeah.
God bless you.
Thanks.
Hi, Darragh.
Thanks.
It's been a busy few months for you since you were last fighting Bellator. Obviously, you fought for Clan Wars and you spent a lot of time in Thailand. Can you just tell us about the time in Thailand, like why you went and what you took from it?
I wanted to go out for one to mix things up, change the environment, get a new outlook on things, and there's no better place to work when you're striking. So that was my main goal.
So you see a lot of fighters at the moment gone over. Bang Tao, is it? Who was there anyone else over there with you?
Me and Nathan Kelly went out, and we were out for just over 5 weeks, and it was quality training. Like, took a lot from it, even in such a short space of time. I think it changed my style slightly. It gives me, I think I'm more well-rounded since, and I've changed my approach to training even since coming back.
And you enjoyed your fight with Clan Wars, obviously first pro title.
It was nice to get back, and most of my amateur career with Clan Wars, so it was nice to go back and lift the title there one more time. So, yeah.
Hey there. Obviously, this is your second fight down at featherweight. How did you find it now? I suppose we talked to you after it on the night and you said you found it good.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose in the camp afterwards and reflecting on it, what did you think of the move down?
Like, obviously, it's a lot tougher getting down to 145. 10 pounds is a big drop. I like the discipline it takes to get down there, and obviously I'm big down there. I'm strong. I feel every bit as strong as I did at lightweight, for at the same weight. So I think it does suit me slightly better. Although 10 weeks of diet and it's not fun, but I think I'm better suited to it.
We spoke to Brian Murray earlier on, who's obviously done the opposite, gone back up in weight. And he was kind of saying it was a lot easier to, I suppose, attain new skills or improve your skills because you're not thinking about the weight cut.
Mm-hmm.
For you, has that been a tough thing to do, like thinking about the weight all the time?
No, it hasn't changed my training. It's just I'm sacrificing the food. That's the only extra, I'm still eating plenty, but no, I don't think it impacts my training at all, to be honest.
Obviously, a couple of fights ago, you came out and you spoke to us and you're very disappointed with the display, even though you came out and got the win.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that kind of still drives you? Obviously, you could tell that you're a winner after that. You weren't happy with the win. Was that kind of a change point in your career, do you think?
I definitely was. I was like, before that fight and lead up to it, I was neglecting my striking, and I was going to wrestling and jiu-jitsu classes when the striking classes were on. I was doubling down on my grappling, and I knew that was an issue, and it was gonna come to the surface at some point or another. But I've addressed that since because of that fight, I suppose you could say. And I wasn't even. A lot of people said I was disappointed for going to the decision. It was more my performance that night, and I made a lot of mistakes. I made that fight very hard for myself from the mistakes I made during it. So I have taken a lot from it. But
was that a part of the reason why you went to Thailand as well? Obviously, the striking out there is very good.
Yeah, well, like I started doing a lot of striking up at home, and down here focusing on it a lot more. And then maybe, it was probably about 6 months after that fight, maybe even more, that I went to Thailand then. So I just kind of, I've found a love for striking now, whereas I didn't have beforehand. It was almost a task to go to the striking classes instead of the grappling. Whereas now, I could even be enjoying the striking more at the minute than in the grappling. So.
Obviously you're young in your career, but you fought pretty regularly. Are you looking to keep that going? And does the uncertainty of kind of what's happening with Bellator and what's next, is that a part of your thinking going into this fight? And what ideally, if everything goes well, where would you see yourself maybe next year or the year after?
Yeah, well, like in the past, for the last few years since lockdown, it's been 2 fights a year, and it's just not enough. It's hard to push yourself 100%. I find I improve most when I'm in camp, giving it everything. And it's more than just showing up when you're in camp. You really are focusing and you're dialed in. So I think 3-4 fights a year is great. That would be what I'd want. As for after Bellator, I'll go out on Saturday, go 5-0, and whatever happens, then I'll leave myself in a good position. There'll be doors open, 5-0.
Just one more question on your opponent. Obviously, he had a pretty gruesome injury in his last fight. Like when you come up against someone like that, the toughness they have, obviously, to come through that and to come back fighting, that must be something I suppose you put into your preparation. That Like it's not going to be an easy one against him.
What was the injury? I wasn't even.
I think he got let me just look at it here. He got a broken artery in his kidneys or something like that. It's a very gruesome injury, yeah.
All right. What side's the kidneys on? He's I can see he's a tough guy. He comes out from the bell and he's aggressive. He's probably the most aggressive guy I've ever fought. So, you know, as you said, he's tough, obviously coming back from something like that too. I need to treat him with caution. You know, there's no easy fights, so I'm going to try and get the job done.
Is there any bit of frustration? Some fighters young in their career want to fight, you know, constantly up and up and up. And I suppose he doesn't have like the best record in the world, but are you happy enough to kind of take these fights, learn the trade and improve yourself as you go?
Look, you know, I could look into that too much. The tough fights are around the corner. I know that. I just have to get through with whoever they give me. I'll sign. That's what I've done. So.
Santiago.
Hi, Darragh. Thank you for the time. Your opponent, Jelle Segers, is from the Netherlands, and they are mostly strikers. He's also set to make his Bellator debut. Were you able to see some film on him, and what kind of opponent do you expect to see on Fight Night?
Yeah, so mostly it's Dave and John who watch the film and they make the game plan, and you know I'm very confident in the game plan they've made. They're very good at exploiting weaknesses in my opponents to date, so you know I trust them with what they're telling me. I've watched a few of his fights. I've seen he's very aggressive, marches forward, throwing a lot of hooks, and he's got power in his hands too. So yeah.
So how influential is John Kavanagh for you, and how influential is he for you to have someone, you know, like him with you on Fight Night?
Oh, it's massive. It gives me a lot of confidence, you know, even just having John in the corner, knowing, you know, he's been there, done that how many times. He brings a lot of experience to the table, so it's great to have him in your corner.
So there's a lot of featherweights, Pedro Carvalho, Asel Adjuj, Brian Moore spoke about you, that he trained with you. Of course, Kenny. There's a couple of featherweights. You guys are all featherweights as well. Is there a good camaraderie between you guys in the gym right before this big Bellator Dublin event comes up?
Yeah, it's brilliant having so many guys at the same weight. You know, you have no shortage of training partners, sparring partners. And I've done a lot of work with Brian Moore for this camp now for the first time, really, because he was coming up. And obviously I'd come down, so I've done a lot of sparring with him in this camp. And it's great to mix it up with all those boys. You know, you get a good look from every aspect.
Cannot wait to see you perform again. Good luck on Fight Night, sir.
Thanks.
Thanks, Darragh.
Happy enough? Cheers.
came from Vegas. It's like 120 degrees or something, and then I come out here, it's like it's cold. Oh yeah.
Hey Matt.
What's up?
Big night on Saturday, Daniel Voigt. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, very good. I'm excited.
You're obviously here this time last year. What were your memories? I know you lost tonight, but what was your experience of fighting in Dublin?
One more time, that Irish accent is fucking me up.
What was your experience of fighting in Dublin last year? I know it didn't go your way, but how did you find
the crowd is crazy. Like, I think it's probably like the top 2 crowds I've ever fought in front of. Like, yeah.
What was the first?
I actually think the best crowd I fought in front of was in Denmark a couple of years ago, but it was a way smaller stadium, so it was more intimate. But like the Dublin crowd was crazy too. Probably the reason why I thought Copenhagen was good was because it was home court advantage, right?
Obviously, Daniel's one of the most experienced fighters around. What are your thoughts on him as an opponent?
Man, he's a legend. That's why I called him out. I know I've been talking some shit, and I've said this before, but it was mostly to reel him in. I've been wanting to fight this guy since I almost became a pro. He fought in Denmark when I was 10 years old on a fight card. I was live watching back in 2004. So it's pretty cool getting to fight him. And he's like all round good like fighter. He fought who's who, and like if you look at his track record, that's like the type of record you would want to have when you retire. He's really the anybody, anytime, anywhere, and I respect that a lot.
Very good. Just behind you, we've got 2 guys in the poster, Pedro and Pico. Pico, what are your thoughts on that fight?
I'll leave that to them.
Fair enough.
Man, obviously you're a top level jiu-jitsu guy, and jiu-jitsu is maybe becoming less and less relevant as a finishing method in MMA over the last few years. As someone who obviously is one of the top people in the world at that art in mixed martial arts, do you think it's something that kind of can make a rebound, that people can start finishing people via submission again?
Not the way that they teaching it in the jiu-jitsu gyms today. Is soft as fuck, to say it like mildly. Like they going for all this worm guard, spider guard, this guard, that guy. Like the old school way, like Henso and Hickson did it. Like get the takedown, get on top, get to mount, punch somebody in the face and choke people. That's how it works in MMA. But this soft shit where they like butt scoot to each other and try to get each other's foot, that shit don't fly in MMA. So when you get slapped, that don't work.
That's probably the answer I wanted. Is that something that you've kind of looked at your game and like you need to do that? Is it more aggressive? Is aggression the thing that you need maybe while using your jiu-jitsu?
No, I think you got to be smart. It's like always position before submission, and usually if you get the submission, it's because the opponent kind of quit on you, especially in MMA. In jiu-jitsu, it's more like scrambly. People open up more for position, but MMA guys are better at getting up. And that's actually a thing. I think it's a major flaw in today's jiu-jitsu schools, that they emphasize way more on submissions than positions. If I have my position correct, you'll never get me in a submission. And it's kind of like the same as if I just go in and teach you how to knock somebody out. But if I don't put you in that space where I can put it on you, it don't matter. So, yeah.
Do you think a large part of that is because of the way fights are judged these days? And obviously, if you hold position and you aren't going for submissions or aren't landing big shots, you're not scoring as heavily.
One more time, again, the Irish accent.
Sorry. So do you think jiu-jitsu has changed in MMA because of the way fights are judged these days?
No, I don't think so. I think it all goes back to the jiu-jitsu schools. They're soft. It's simple as that. When you look at ADCC and all that stuff, none of them goes for like for the wrestling. It's just, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna scoop with my butt towards you. No, that's not a fight. If they want to make jiu-jitsu great again and make it great again in MMA, they should start giving minus points for jumping guard. If your guard is that freaking good, you get a minus point. And I bet you then they'll stop jumping guard.
Do you think jumping guard in MMA is something that should be brought back more to be more aggressive?
No. Actually, it's funny because I'm good on the ground, but I actually really think jiu-jitsu is soft. I actually don't like it. It's weird to say, especially how it is today. I really don't like how jiu-jitsu, like how the tournaments and how they call it fights. How can it be a fight when nobody's getting slapped? That I don't understand. Like I really don't like how the jiu-jitsu is today.
Kind of touching on what Sean was saying there. as a fighter, when the rules do tweak or change, they did a few years ago, and the scoring criteria becomes different, are you a fighter that kind of would be up on that, or would you be making sure you knew every last rule, that that having dominant position is if you've been hit with a big shot early in the round is probably not going to win the round for you, and you need to make something happen? Is that in your mind, or is you just doing what you always do? And
I just do what I always do.
Do you think that's a disadvantage to not, if you were playing any other sport and you didn't really know the rules properly of how to win, that would be a big problem, no?
I can't, when a man is trying to kick my head off, I cannot think of the rules. I just gotta fight, and you gotta go in with an open mindset. Like the Borg fight, I thought, oh, we're gonna get into a grappling match, I'm gonna take him down, but then I have fun on the feet. And the Justin Gonzalez fight, I was like, yeah, man, I want to get it on the feet, and he had nothing on the ground, so we ended on the ground. You got to go in with an open mindset and take what the fights brings you.
Obviously, you fought like kind of a who's who on the local circuit over the years, and you fought in a lot of events. But when you come into as the kind of the villain against Pedro Carvalho, your last time here, does some of that kind of crowd noise, that kind of stuff affect you, or as you're saying, is it when you're in there trying to beat up another man, is it just complete focus, or do you think anything changes mentally, or is there an extra pressure on yourself or anything like that when you're kind of like the villain in a hostile crowd?
I actually never thought I was the villain until you just said it, so that's pretty funny. But the fight you have in front of you is always the most important, and it doesn't matter if I'm fighting on this stage right here or if I'm fighting at 3 Arena. Like, you got to go in and do what you got to do to advance in your career. You're going to have bad days, you're going to have good days, you just got to keep going forward.
So Daniel's always very exciting. Like, he always brings a fight to you, you know. Would you rather win in a very dominant way, or would you rather have one of those fights that everyone is talking about at the end of the night? It's back and forth.
Yeah, that's a tough question for me, because, you know, you don't get paid for overtime or what you say. So if I can go in and get him out of there real quick and barely get touched, of course you got to be smart and use your fight IQ, but deep inside and like all down to my nuts, I want to have a Gaddy Walt type of fight. But if I can make it easy, he's a legend. Of course, it's not going to be easy, but if I can make it easier, then of course I will do that.
What do you think? How important is your legacy in Denmark for you?
To be honest, I don't give two shits about Denmark. They're dumber than these, what do you call this, when it comes to fighting. The casuals, I don't give two shits about. For me, it's about getting respect from the people that I looked up to, the fighters that I looked up to when I was coming up, and from the young guys that is coming up now to be looking up to me. The casuals, they don't know their ass from their elbow. So, yeah.
Is that part of the reason why you moved to Vegas as well? Or?
No, it's because that's where the best training is. And that's where, like, if you bump into the best training partners, like it's like the Mecca of fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see you there soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Santiago.
Hi, Matt. Hello from Amsterdam. Thank you for the time. Matt,
you
were very vocal about wanting to fight against Weichel after your excellent performance against Gonzalez. And it seems like Weichel was for a short while not responding. Here we have the fight. Did you always have a feeling Bellator would make this fight at some point anyway?
I don't know if I had a feeling, but I was on it right after my last fight. I was like, I want to fight this guy, and yeah, Bellator made it happen, and I'm super grateful for making this fight happen and giving me this opportunity. So yeah, it's super cool.
So Extreme Couture is an amazing spot right now with champions all over the place, and you know, a lot of strong contenders as well, like yourself, Jeremy Kennedy. The list just goes on, but how did your camp go for this fight? And can you feel it in the gym that the excitement level is very high?
The excitement level is always very high in Extreme Couture. Like, there's a bunch of crazy dudes in that gym. Need I say more than Sean Strickland? Then, you know, but the camp has been going great. I'm injury-free and ready to go.
Patrick.
Hey, Mads, last time out, you got back in the win column against a very highly touted prospect. Did that add any motivation to you for training for this fight?
No, that didn't add anything for motivation for this fight. I don't know if you guys recall, I think I called Weichel out after my first or second Bellator fight. So just it's motivating just to get to fight this guy. Like, I've kind of been looking up to it. Like I said, he from my part of the world, like Scandinavia, Germany, and Northern Europe, he's kind of a legend. So super cool fighting him.
And do you think down the line, maybe, this fight, however it plays out, if there's no bad blood, we could see maybe you coming down to Frankfurt and training with Weichel and the MMA Spirit team?
Yeah, I wouldn't have no problem with that. He seems like a cool cat. I remember even when I called him out the first time, I was actually here in Dublin and I was calling out. I already called him out and I was cornering Patchy Mix on the Dublin card. And he saw me at breakfast and came over and said hello, and we chopped it up. So for my part, there's no bad blood.
Thanks, Mads.
Thank you. Does it? Cool.
How you doing, guys? All right? Well, it's like a funeral in here, man.
All right, Sean.
Everyone ready?
Everybody has to adjust their cameras. They're too tall.
My bad, sorry. You got the world's biggest chair, though, to be fair. I've never done this before, do you know what I mean? I've done this since I was like 8. But
Luke, obviously you had a massive win in your last fight against Sullivan Colley. You entered as, I suppose, a small bit of an underdog, but what was it like to get that massive win? I suppose, how has your life changed since then that now people know, I suppose, all around the world that you're a top prospect?
Biggest difference, I'm engaged to my beautiful fiance. Shout out to you, Orchid. Yeah, that was a huge W for me, man. That was the biggest W of the night. And then obviously I got to complete the dream of fighting in the States. That was dope. The tax was not as dope, but it was a really good experience. Temecula was amazing. Fighting in a casino like that, it was just nuts. And yeah, the fight went great. Didn't take any damage at all. Got to show my skill set and yeah, prove I belong in the top 10. And I'm a dog in this arena, man. So yeah.
So what was the tax situation? How much did it take?
Jesus, brother, they take 40% off the top, and then yeah, I obviously had to pay everyone and all that jazz, and then you do your own tax when you get home. It's a bit of a nightmare, but yeah, we're trying to figure it out. No evasion, government. All right, I'm gonna pay for the roads, but yeah, man, it's it's a work in progress.
Obviously, you're here in Ireland now, fighting in a different country. Again, as someone who's signed for Bellator, I assume fighting in Ireland is always something you wanted to do. Yeah. Was that on the bucket list?
100%. I commentated, actually, it was this Saturday 1 year ago. I did my first commentating gig for the Bellator event for Romero and Melvin Manhoff. It was dope. I got to stand cage side for the first time and hear the crowd, and the Dublin crowd is nuts, man. It reminds me what it's like to fight in London. It's that sort of drunk man energy. It's dope, man. And the seats were vibrating. So I got super excited when I saw that and thought, yeah, one day I'm going to be here. And here we are, man, 1 year later to the day. So yeah, it's exciting.
Obviously, a lot of the top prospects from the UK and Ireland are signed to Bellator at the moment. Where would you put yourself in that list? Do you think you're one of the top ones coming through?
Coming from the UK?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%, man. In the light heavyweight division, I'm number one from the UK, 100%. You got the likes of Fabian about to fight for the title. Fabian's a flipping assassin, pardon the pun in his name. But yeah, man, Europe has some amazing fighters. UK, I think, are leading the pack right now. Yeah, I'll be honest, out of Europe, the top two light heavyweights, in my opinion, is myself and Simeon Powell. And Sim's my boy, he's my training partner. Go to war every day together. So, yeah, I feel confident that I'm going to take over, man, especially in this division.
Obviously, Simeon's fighting next week as well. Was that
Yes,
a big
sir.
part of your training camp,
100.
having him with you?
100%, man. The last camp we shared together as well. I'm going to stick around for some of his camp for the December fight for the final in the PFL. But yeah, man, we go toe to toe every day, man. So yeah, he's my brother, he's my family, and yeah, without him, it's like a really nice balance of training with us. Where I lack in skill set, he excels. Where he lacks, I excel. So yeah, man, he's going to kill it next Saturday, like I'm going to this Saturday.
Last one for me. What do you think of your opponent on Saturday night? Obviously, like maybe he's the biggest name, but he's a very, very good record. And, you know, I think it was 14-1 or something like that.
Yes,
when you've
sir.
won that many fights, obviously there's something good about you. What have you seen in the tape with him?
Yes, sir. No, he's a dog. 14-1. Strong grappling background, sambo background. He's got strong power, good hands. I think he's quite rudimental in his skill set. That's not me knocking him. I just think he sticks to what he does and doesn't really expand out of that. But yeah, he's a dog, but I'm going to crush him. I'm going to absolutely smash him because I am the better fighter and because I am a dog. So yeah, and I'm going to die on my shield if I can't. So I'm really excited. It's going to be a war on Saturday. And yeah, I'm ready to go.
You seem very confident, and you've obviously bounced back with 2 very impressive finishes in the first round. But how did it feel? And what, you know, they say a lot that the secret ingredient to success is defeat. So what did you take from that fight, and what did you learn, and how much did you grow from that loss?
From a defeat? Yeah, no, it was massive. I learned a lot about myself in the fact that I'm not an island and I have to take advice from other people. I made some big mistakes in that camp, and yeah, it was a mistake on my behalf, in my opinion, going into the fight. But I did it. I'm a man who stands on my own shield. So yeah, Simon won fair and square. I took a beating for 15 minutes to learn a lesson, but lesson is 100% learned. And yeah, I don't want to feel that again. So I don't mind going into a fight and losing, as long as I know I went into that fight where I should have been there and I gave it my all. I went into that fight where I necessarily shouldn't have been there. And I think that showed in my performance. So yeah, no, I learned a lot, and I learned I'm a dog, and I can be in the trenches for full 15 minutes if I have to. So yeah. Cool. All these quiet people and no more.
Luke, how you doing, man? How do you top the performance you had last time out against Sullivan Cully? You know, it was like a steamroller. You ran through him.
Yeah, I think it was funny. What's going on, Patrick, by the way, man? Shout out to you. What's going on? Yeah, I don't necessarily think I steamrolled him. I didn't get any hands off. There was no like offensive grappling and no offensive striking, just because he shot so early and we didn't predict that at all. I got to show my anti-wrestling against the NCAA, you know, guy from America, top prospect and all that jazz. I got to show that I can grapple with guys like that and submit them in less than 3 minutes, man. So I learned a lot about that. I've never fought someone with those credentials before, but yeah, it was a great win. And yeah, it was a flipping easy 3 minutes.
And when we talked in Milan last year in October, you said you really, really wanted to get on the Dublin card. Now here you are about a year later. How good does it feel to be sat in this chair right now? And how excited are you to be out there Saturday night?
It's great, man. Honestly, this is probably the best I've ever felt. I know it's corny to say, and I know every guy always says that, but this is the first time I've worked with a nutritionist. Shout out to Charlie. He's taken this weight cut and shown me a whole other side to how to weight cut, and I'm doing it super professionally for the first time ever. I'm taking advice on a weight cut for the first time ever. I'm gonna make weight like a breeze. I feel like a savage right now. I'm not drained. I'm not drawn. I'm full and I'm good to go. Yeah, I feel great, man. And I'm just excited to go toe to toe. I really hope that my opponent takes this fight as this is his big time to shine. You know, I hope this is his best camp. This is the best foot forward for him. He comes out aggressive and ready to scrap. And in that way, I can really show what I'm made of, and I can show that I am a Spartan and I'm a dog. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to go to war.
Thank you and good luck.
Santiago.
Hi, Luke. Greetings from Amsterdam. Thank you for the time, as always. Love talking to you during fight week. How is Bellator taking care of you over there in Dublin?
Santiago, since my debut, what's going on, my brother? Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Everyone is beautiful here. The media room is very quiet, but obviously it's been a long day. Yeah, bro. Listen, as always, the Bellator staff, I love them. They've treated me so nice, and brother, they've changed my life, man. So yeah, grateful to be here as always. I love Dublin. It's a bit rainy right now. It reminds me of Stevenage, and yeah, just looking forward to the fight.
All right, last one here, Dylan.
What's up, Luke? Thank you for the time, man. So 2-0 since your first loss, 2-0 with 2 first-round stoppages. Would you consider that fight almost like a blessing in disguise?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was. Again, I learned a lot of lessons, and I had to take a beating to do it. But yeah, it just feels like that's so far in the past now. Do you know what I mean? Like for the last 2 years, I've been 2 years. I don't know how long it's been actually, but however long I've been pining for the rematch. I've been begging Bellator every other week for the rematch after every fight. I'm like, please give me him, give me him, give me him. He lost his last fight, and my coach said, you're not allowed to say his name anymore. And he will now work to get to you if it ever happens. So yeah, that's it. It's in the rear view now. You know, I'm onto bigger and better things. I've got a soul to take on Saturday, and then I just keep climbing until the belt is mine. But yeah, brother, it's good, man. It's good. I've learned a lot.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, brother. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi.
Take our first question here.
Hi, Sarah. Welcome to Ireland.
Thanks.
Obviously, this is your first time fighting in Ireland. What has the experience been like so far?
So far it's been really good. I'm from Melbourne in Australia, and Ireland, or Dublin itself, has given me very big Melbourne vibes. So it feels like I'm at home.
Melbourne must not be very nice. So.
Same weather.
Yeah. Well, obviously, you're going to be fighting Sinead Kavanagh coming in here, who is from Dublin herself, and obviously a big hometown favourite. Have you thought about that? Is that part of your game planning? Is that part of the mental approach coming in here? The reception, maybe she'll get in the crowd that will be behind her.
I've been trying not to think of it, but everyone keeps reminding me.
Sorry.
That's all right. I think it's going to be fun. I'm not too worried.
Obviously, you kind of burst onto the scene in your last performance, a great win over Pam Sorensen. How's your life changed since then? I suppose you probably knew how good you were, but everyone else found out then.
My life hasn't changed too much. I still go to the gym every day, work. I work a bit less now because I'm getting paid a bit more to fight, so that's nice. But apart from that, not much has changed.
Obviously, you're a very good grappler with very good judo, and Sinead recently fought Liam McCourt, who also has, a similar enough style. Is that a fight you've looked at a lot preparing for Sinead?
Yeah, I watched that fight, but Sinead had a dodgy knee in that fight, so I don't think it was very comparable to what is going to be what the fight's going to be like on Saturday. So I did watch it, but I didn't take too much from it.
Obviously, I spoke about your grappling there, but if this fight, let's say, turns into a striking matchup, how do you think you match up against Sinead? Obviously, a multiple-time Irish boxing champion. Is that something you're confident in taking on the feet?
I've been practicing keeping my hands up, so we'll see.
Obviously, Sean was talking about Sinead there. When you look at kind of her record and you look back at her fights, maybe there's a good few fights that maybe a lot of people thought she won that she didn't. Obviously, you stepped up in your last fight, but would you consider this the biggest win of your career if you were to get the win?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think from now on, every fight I have is going to be the biggest win of my career. So this will put me in a great contention to climb the ranks in Bellator if I win this. And yeah, I'm super excited.
Obviously, hi.
Hello.
Sinead's last fight was against Janae Harding, and which is a fight that she had lost before as well. Yeah. You have beat Jamie Edenden, who just beat Janae Harding as well.
Yeah.
Like, does
so
that
MMA
give you any
maths,
confidence?
I win.
Yeah, bit of that. Does that give you any confidence as well? Do you look at that in any way and like, you know?
Yeah, I did. I watched the fight last weekend with Janae and Jamie, and I thought Janae and Sinead's last fight was very even, and it did give me a lot of confidence. So yeah.
Like, what are some, like, if the crowd starts getting really loud, have you thought about what sort of mental adjustments you have to make?
No, when I'm in the cage, I'm very tunnel vision on what's right in front of me, and I don't pay too much attention to outside of the cage. You can ask my coaches; I don't listen to what they're saying to me.
Yeah.
So I think I'll be all right.
And now Australia is like the last few years has been the biggest growing superpower in MMA. What do you attribute that to, basically?
MMA growing in Australia.
Yeah.
I think just the number of fighters that we have at a top level now. It's making it fun to watch when you're watching someone who's from your home country.
That gives you like the confidence and like you think that brings more people into it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Santiago.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you for the time. I'm virtual. I'm digitally.
Where?
Yeah, I'm not in the room.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
digital. Yeah, I'm virtually. So your opponent, Kavanagh, was in a title fight with Cyborg. And after that, she already had 2 good wins back to back. Not a lot of people would complain if they would have given Kavanagh the next title shot, maybe. Do you feel that this fight has a big reward for yourself? Because you can take all her momentum, add it, and add yourself into the top of this division, right? Does it feel to you for like a big chance for you as well?
Yeah, I think this is a massive chance for me to really show what I can do and move myself up the ranks and get ready to fight for that title one day.
So I'm not sure if you got this, but 2 new female featherweights are set to debut for Bellator next month. This division is still, a work in progress. Do you like what Bellator is doing with it?
Yeah, I think Bellator has the best female featherweights in the world. So I love what they're doing with the featherweight division.
Cannot wait to see you perform again. Good luck on fight night.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Oh, thanks.
I have to, like, once I saw it, I was like, I have to be.
I got the winter overcoat.
Oh, it looks nice. I thought about that as well.
Yeah, good to go.
Hey, Pedro, good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to be here.
Does it feel like this fight has you on the cusp of that world title once again?
Oh man, it feels good. It feels right. And being in the fight where I know that I'm gonna have a fight, it's excited. So I'm buzzing to this one. It's a fight that I've been wanting for quite some time, and I don't know, like I said before, I always want to fight the top guys so I can go out there and prove myself as the top man. So this fight is perfect for me to go out there and earn my spot as a title contender and, you know, fight for the belt.
I seen an interview Aaron did recently. He said it'll be straightforward for him. What would your response be to that?
And to be honest, let him think whatever. You know, he'll find out on Saturday.
We spoke to Brian earlier. He's obviously moving up weight. He spoke about his training. He's training with you guys, the kind of bigger guys. He called it. How's the camp been with having him around and just in general?
Oh, it's been great. You know, it's been great to be back. Not that we don't train together, but of course, with camps, we always try to train in groups. You know, division groups, and having Brian again on the featherweight group around. It's great because he's such a unique fighter. He's by far one of the best. You know, footwork guys that you know, his footwork is excellent, his boxing is excellent, is, you know, it's just, I love to watch Brian fight, and having him at featherweight fresh, fully ready to go, I'm excited to him, and I'm excited to watch him beat this man.
I was going to ask you while you're here, the Rugby World Cup is on at the moment, and Portugal played today. Did you watch it? I know it's not a massive sport in Portugal yet, but they did very well.
So, like, unfortunately, Portugal is not like a big rugby country, but you know, as a Portuguese man, I follow the results, and I know they are doing well, even though I don't understand a lot about rugby, but I do know they did pretty well against Wales.
Yeah.
And hopefully the boys will do good, which is already historical because it's the first time ever that Portugal is in the World Cup. So I believe that in the future we might do even better. So,
Pedro, obviously you've fought Patricio before, and that'd be the ultimate goal again. But you know, he's coming off 2 losses now, and he's going to have a bit of time out. With a win here, do you think you could get either a shot at him or maybe an interim title going forward?
Oh, for sure, the next thing it's interim belt, because he'll be out until summer next year. You're not gonna fight anytime earlier than that. And I heard somewhere there Bellator is gonna do an interim belt. So, and besides, even if I don't heard that they're around, it's the obvious thing to do it, because he doesn't defend his belt for quite some time. He's gonna be out for a good bit, so it just makes sense to make an interim belt and not holding the division.
Obviously, we've seen in Aaron's fights in the early part of his career where he was, I suppose, caught early. Is that something do you think has gone out of his game, or do you think it's something that's still there with him?
Well, he is a different fighter. If you look to his early fights before his losses and after his losses, he is a different fighter, and for the better for him. He is a way better fighter after the losses. The core, him as a fighter, is the same fighter, you know, and that's one of the things that I like on him. I call him, he's a fighter's fighter. You know, he goes in there to win, but he goes in there to fight. You know, he's not there for holding and look at the clock and waiting for the time to pass. He's there to hurt you and to finish you, which I like it, you know. But like I've said, I don't care about no one. I just care about me. I just care about what I'm doing and what I'm going to do on Saturday, and the rest is rest.
Not to maybe give away the tactics or anything, but like, is starting fast the most important thing for you against Aaron? Because like, as we've seen, you know, in these losses, a lot of them have been early, and you're a guy who comes out and does often start fast, land big shots early. Is that something you've really kind of keyed in on the start of the fight?
It's not a thing that I'm looking for, because we never know what's going to happen in a fight. You know, we can imagine a fight million of ways, and the fight happens in that one way that we never picture it. So I don't lose too many time. I know that, you know, Aaron always most of the times he fight in a specific way, that very aggressive way. So for sure, I'm gonna have to handle with shots, which I'm looking for. I rather prefer having someone that throws at me than someone that is just like try to hug me and make some love.
Obviously, you've had a few months now to reflect on the Jeremy Kennedy loss. Like, in your mind, what do you think went wrong there, and how are you gonna? What have you been doing in training to stop Aaron coming in and following the same kind of blueprint that Jeremy followed?
Well, first of all, speaking specifically about Jeremy and Aaron, I'm not too worried about that because both of them are different fighters. Kennedy fights always the same way. He's good at doing that, but he's always fighting that way. He holds you and just pretty much waits for the clock to do it. He's good at doing that, but Pico does not do that. I'm not saying that he might not try and doing that, but physically and stylistically, they're not the same. You know, especially when you're someone there looking for shots. When you look for shots, you create openings. You know, each fight is a fight, and each person is a person. So, talking about the fight specifically, there was a lot of things going wrong into that fight. You know, I kind of dealt, you know, with some personal things that doesn't really matter. And my own approach was a bit wrong going to that fight, because one of the most dangerous things to do is when you feel so comfortable about it. Because, for example, now fighting Pico, I know I have to be aware of his explosiveness, of how explosive he is, how powerful he is. So they're dangerous, make me alert. With Kennedy, I knew that he wouldn't knock me out because I am a better striker. He wouldn't submit me. So I was like, I'll be fine. So I'm just gonna play this tactical game with him, and it was the wrong approach. And with those kind of fighters, once they get the grab of you and they can see that they can keep you there, they grow and they kind of kill the flame on you, which is, you know, merit for him. He done that very, very well. But I don't think, I didn't felt that he showed me that he's a better fighter than me. He just was more effective. And it wasn't a case like I don't have arguments to this guy. It was just like on that night, I made the wrong decisions. That was it.
Even like we've seen in recent kind of years in the judging criteria that even if you're on your back, if you do kind of, you know, defend well and land from the bottom, you can actually win these rounds. Is that something that maybe you thought you could have kind of changed the game plan to when you were stuck on your back against Jeremy Kennedy, and something you may try to do in the future?
One of them, yeah. And you have actually a good example when Jeremy Kennedy fought against Emmanuel Sanchez. I don't actually know the judges scorecard, but I scored the first round to Emmanuel Sanchez because he was more active in the striking, and on the floor he just kept throwing damage. So yeah, that's one of those things, but it's not the main or the only thing. There's a few little details in there that I know that if I'll face him again, it's gonna make a huge difference.
Hi. How does it feel to be a co-main now in, you know, your second home basically?
Well, fortunately and gratefully, it's the second co-main event in a row that I'm doing it. This time, you know, I'll get my hand raised, and I've been working for it. And this time, everything is going to be doing just right. So it's not only it's great responding to you. It's great, but I think it's, you know, details. A fight is a fight. If I was the first fight on the prelims or the second last or the last in the card, a fight is a fight. Doesn't matter.
Is your mental approach any different now, or the feelings that you have any different now than it was the last fight?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. Yes, because the opponent is different, the camp is different, everything is different. So in their specific way, it is different. But you know, in concerns of me, Pedro, it isn't, because you know I try to do I always try to bring new things to me, not only skill wise, but even mindset wise. But I'm Pedro, and I am what I am, so I keep like that.
Do you think it makes a difference that you fought for the title and Aaron is the guy that hasn't, but is super hungry?
I don't think so. I don't think so because I'm hungry as well. I wasn't. I know I didn't want the world belt. I'm hungry. I can say that I'm probably hungrier than him because I had the taste of it. I had the belt in my hands on the photo shoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt it. So day in, day in, I see myself with that belt around my waist. And right now the path is pretty clear in front of me. But I don't want to think about belts. I don't want to think about rematch with Jeremy Kennedy or with Patricio. Nothing doesn't matter because I have to pass forward, but Pico, and that's what I'm focused on.
That answers my last question as well, because I was wondering what the plan would be if you've thought about it after you beat Aaron.
Yeah, like my plan is there, because pretty much the winner after we get the winner of this fight, which will be me, the only obvious thing to do is their intro belt. Thank you.
Pedro, I spotted you in some of the footage from when Conor got his black belt.
Yeah,
that was a pretty special night at the gym, right?
It was a good and special night, 100%.
Did you see much of him? And obviously Ian Gary was out there as well. Did you see much of those guys while they were there?
Yeah, good bit. Yeah, they were. So while Ian Gary was here in Dublin, he showed up like a couple of times. I didn't have the chance of working with him, as obvious, because he's a welterweight and I'm a featherweight. But both of them were in the mats training with the lads.
Do you think he's really approaching that world level now? Do you think he's within the next year he'll be, like, from what you've seen of him, he's going to be around, competing for world titles again? Could be for the world title for the first time. I said again there.
First time. Oh yeah, 100%. And even the way you watch him fight, he approach fighting in a very smart way. And even though his striking is very clean, it's very good. You can see that he doesn't rush into things, and you can see that inside of the ring and outside of the ring. And 100%, I will put my money that it is a matter of time until eventually he becomes world champion.
From what you've seen of Conor in the gym, do you think he's ready for the comeback? I know they just announced he's not coming back in December, but do you think he's ready now?
I would say so. I would say that the energy around it, it's different. You can see. I mean, my personal point of view, the energy you feel it's different. It's that fight feeling around it.
Thanks, Pedro.
That's it. Thank you, lads. Appreciate it.
Just a second.
What your man said, American, they just said, I don't know. They didn't speak, but I don't know. But yeah, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna wear it out.
All right, lads.
Go.
Give me 1 second. Sorry, Shane.
All right.
Tonight, another fight week in Dublin. How do you feel?
I feel good. Yeah, my body's good. I'm looking forward to this fight.
Does the feelings when these fight nights come around in Dublin, is it the same every time? Like, is it exciting every time it comes around? Because Bellator have been twice a year now for the last few years.
Yeah, I love fighting in Dublin. I'm undefeated. This is my castle. Yeah, it's pretty good. Good feeling.
Fighting another Aussie on Saturday night, Sara Collins. Tell us what you've seen. Have you watched much of her? Got much tape on her?
Yeah, she's awkward, difficult. Obviously, totally different style to mine. She's undefeated. She's going to be coming in here thinking she could rule the roost, you know. But yeah, I'm here to stop her in her tracks.
And how's the body going into this fight? Obviously, last year you come back from injury and stuff like that. But how are you feeling now?
Yeah, good. I'm a legend. I came back after 10 months after surgery last fight. You know, I was feeling, am I ready? You know, but I done it, and I'm much more prepared this one.
Sinead, obviously after the Liam McCourt fight, you were promised the title, and then this is 2 more fights, and maybe seems like you're even further away from it than you are then. Is that a bit frustrating, like that you were promised a title shot, now you're fighting someone that's 4-0?
No, not really. Like, you know, it'd be nice to have a big name here, but like Kat, I'd like to fight Kat here, Cyborg here, like, you know, but if this is something I have to do, like, you know, she's undefeated. She's gonna think she can railroad me, you know. So, like, yeah, bring it on, you know.
I'll ask you about the fight in a second, but what would your prediction? Let's say you get the win. What's your prediction for who gets the title shot next? And do you think you'll be in the mix, or do you think it'll be someone else that'll get it?
I don't think anyone can argue if I was put up. You know, I'm just could be 3 in a row, like, you know. But yeah, you know, like, line me up to someone else. Okay, I'm pretty cool about everything.
Obviously, Kat's fighting Cyborg coming up, and then Lee and Sarah McMahon are fighting in a couple of weeks' time too. How do you see those 2 fights going? Who do you think will emerge as the winners of those?
I think Cyborg's going to win. And with Sarah and Leah, it's, you know, it's a tough fight for Leah. You know, it is. It's a tough one. But like, they're two grapplers. So look, I hope Leah does it.
Obviously, speaking of Leah, she's probably a good person to prepare for, the same as your opponent on Saturday night. You know, similar enough style, I suppose, big and strong and good at judo. Do you think like that camp coming in, having another camp here, has got you well prepared for this opponent?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I fought girls like Sarah before. Like, she's pretty much judo style, same. They kind of do the same things, don't they? Like, you know, so yeah, I'm well prepared for this.
We asked her earlier on about preparing for fighting at Dublin or in Dublin with, you know, the big crowd behind you, and she was kind of like saying she didn't want to think about it, type of thing. How big is it for you, the other side of it, having all that crowd behind you? You know, you're the top Irish person on the card as well. Like, does that mean a lot to you, and to have your hometown people behind you?
Yeah, well, I'm the only Irish person on the main card, like, you know, so yeah, it's kind of running through my veins. Yeah, like, it's a big honor for me for that to happen. It was always a childhood dream of mine to fight in the 3 Arena and to be on the main card. So look, I'm living that dream, and I'm happy enough to do that.
In your camps when you're training, are you one that goes back and does a lot of tape study and like, you know, when you're fighting an opponent who only has kind of one kind of known quantity fight, her last one against Pam Sorensen, would you be focusing on that, or would you be more of the mind of just focus on yourself and not the opponent?
Whether I like it or not, I get thrown these tapes. My girlfriend and my son would be throwing them at me, like, so yeah, I have watched a few, like, of her. Yeah.
And is there anything in her game that you think you can exploit, or
she's a southpaw, like, she's gonna be difficult, like, you know. She goes for that grab, but I think I have well prepared for that, for what she does, you know.
And obviously you avenged your loss to Janae Harding in your last one. And looking back at your record, is it the Leslie Smith kind of controversial decision something you'd like to avenge, or are you just happy to kind of go on in separate directions?
Well, there's a few of them, I think, you know. The few of them, I think my record doesn't evaluate me like as a fighter. Of course, I'd like. I don't know if she's finished yet. I haven't seen her fight like in like a long time. Like I would like to fight her again and like demolish her like they did in the first fight, you know. But yeah, that'd be a nice fight for me.
I just wanted to ask you about the activity you did a few weeks ago with Bellator and Fly Fit, the women's self-defense thing. How did you find that? Did you get good feedback from women around Dublin and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was good. It was cool. Like it was just giving women an insight to something that you can learn. Like, you know, not to learn something from that class alone. Like it's something to pick up, and if you enjoyed it, like why not join something like? Yeah.
Passionate.
Hey.
So everyone is expecting Sara to grapple with you, to do that. Is it a matter of catching her with heavy hands first, keeping her away with the striking, or do you think it's gonna get to the grappling and you're gonna test yourself and you feel confident there?
I go where the fight goes. Like anything can happen in the cage. Like it's just being prepared for that to happen. Like I pretty like I think she's gonna do the exact same thing she's done in our previous fights. Like so yeah, she's just trying to grab me, bring me to the cage, take me down. I just have to take it from there. Like.
And do you remember the last time when you were undefeated and what your mentality was going into that first fight that you lost?
Yeah, only think you're unstoppable. You know, and so you have to learn there's levels to this game, and I'm that level up, and I think I'm here to stop her, like, you know. So
I think there's some naivety. There might be some naivety creeping in for her in terms of being undefeated. That there might be some naivety. That she might be a little bit naive because she hasn't taken a loss yet.
Yeah, I think so. She's gonna come in here like, yeah, I think she's rules the rules, kind of maybe a bit cocky, but behavior, like, you know. But yeah, whatever.
Have you sneakily thought about the feeling of getting a knockout in front of the Dublin crowd?
I have before, so it's been nothing new for me. I don't go for the knockout. If you know, I think that's where you go wrong. Like, you know, I'm there to fight, and I'll go to 15 minutes if have to be.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. That's. I'm not asking that negative. He also
It's like when the edge you turn on the next time, just like Photoshop a edge right there. It's like let's get up to that. I like it. I think we make sense for a bit. Oh my God. We got when I started days when I was ones from right. I'm saying let's be I know. I say yeah,
Can I pick up the mic or I have to lean in? I'm picking up. Oh, thanks. We'll never use the money, they don't know how to ball.
Fabian, big world title fight coming up. I suppose this is something you've been dreaming of your whole life. How are you feeling now coming into only a few days out?
Calm. I feel really, really calm. That's just me as a person. But yeah, I've been working a long time for this moment. So it feels good to finally get here. You know what I mean? A couple of days away from achieving that goal, and yeah, feel good.
Is it a moment like you feel prepared for? Obviously, coming through as an undefeated amateur, people were talking about you before you even made your pro debut. Obviously, knowing your name through your brother as well. Is that pressure something that you've had your whole career, something that has prepared you for this big moment?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Since I've started, everyone's like, okay, his brother started. Let's see if he's any good. You know what I mean? Went through my amateur career undefeated. Obviously, pro, suffered a couple of losses, and that's what it's like when you lose, people start doubting, you know what I mean? But I never doubted myself, and that's the reason why I'm in the situation I'm in now,
Obviously, Johnny Eblen, we've seen him being very impressive over the last while. His wrestling is obviously very good, and you know you spoke about a couple of losses there. The Vanderfort one was a lot of it obviously down to the wrestling, although a closer fight maybe than a lot of people talk about.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've improved an awful lot on the wrestling from, and obviously is that something you've thought about a lot coming into this fight?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like even I look back at that fight and I feel like if I had, because I never had my right corner team because like COVID like messed everything up, and I feel like even with the right corner team, I feel like I would have beat him that night. So I feel like the skills have always been there, but I feel like I'm more mature now with my skill set. I feel like I know exactly what I need to do to beat these guys,
What do you think it is you need to do to beat Eblen?
Be Fabian Edwards, you know what I mean? Be Fabian Edwards, and that's land heavy shots on him, make him uncomfortable in there, and yeah, turn him into a panic wrestler. That's why he's at heart. That's why he is, So you're always gonna go back to what you are, and about me making him realize that real quick,
Obviously, it's there for everyone to see the amount of talent you have, but sometimes you even said it yourself, you fight within yourself maybe a little bit. Is that what you're talking about, being Fabian Edwards, letting those shots go, letting the hands go, and make him pay for his mistakes?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like when you see me in the gym and you see me just flow, I'm always at my best when I'm just in there flowing and enjoying. I feel like there's been certain moments where I haven't done that, and that's how it goes. And I'm still young in this sport. I've only been doing this for 8 years now. 8 years? Yeah. 8 years. So I've been here for 8 years. So it ain't long compared to some of these guys,
Last one for me. How good would it be to get home to Birmingham and you have the Bellator title and your brother have the UFC title and hold them up in your hometown?
Yeah, that's gonna be fucking. That's gonna be crazy. That's what we envision. When I signed for Bellator, I said that's what I'm gonna do. I came here to get a belt. I never come here just to like take part and then fade away into background. I came here to get a belt, and yeah, I'm not far away from that.
Obviously, you were an undefeated fighter for a long time, and an amateur and a pro. What was the kind of feelings and the kind of mental side of it when you went in there, and even if you dispute this decision or whatever, on the record it is a loss, two losses in a row. Yeah. What kind of mental things you have to deal with, and how hard is it compared to when the momentum of being undefeated for a number of years? What are the changes in the kind of mentality and the training and everything around that?
Yeah, like I say, when you're undefeated for so many years, you think to yourself, I'm never gonna lose. Like you really do. Like I can never lose. You know what I mean? But you suffer your loss, a next loss, and you kind of like, part of the sport. Kind of realize part of the sport. Let's not hold on to it too much, because holding on to it is gonna do more damage than good. You know what I mean? So yeah, therefore soaked for a bit. I was driving, and every time I drive, it would flash into my head like, oh, fuck's sake, I can't believe you lost that. But I just maintained the same positive mindset. I thought, I'll get back to the gym, get back working,
And obviously you took a fight with a legend in Machida after that and got to finish with, was that, obviously it's a legend of the sport, a guy who's been a champion in the UFC. Is that a different kind of feeling when you're going against somebody who you obviously would respect and maybe look up to as you were growing in the sport?
Yeah, and plus as well, like I like back against the wall type of feeling, you know. So I didn't really care who was in there with me. If I'm being honest, it was like by any means I'm winning this fight, you know, and by any means I'm winning this fight, and yeah, and by any means I won, you know.
Hey, Fabian. Is it a coincidence that right now you and your brother are at the top of your promotions, basically?
Nah, I just feel like obviously years and years of hard work have just kind of led to the moment, kind of at the same time. You know what I mean? And that's about it.
Yeah. Is it like? But it's so there's nothing specific to the factor that it's happening at the same time.
Nah, not really. You know, I feel like just like I said, just like literally just the years of hard work, and me and my brother are very like perfectionists. You know, we're like, nah, it needs to be done right. We need to get it right. And I feel like over the years, it's just built up our skill set, and we've just, God's timing. You know what I mean? I feel like it's that time.
You think you're being overlooked by Johnny basically because he is undefeated, and what do you make of him being undefeated and that mentality he comes with?
Like I say, when you've never lost before, you think, nah, I can never lose. Like, fuck it, that would never happen to me. You know what I mean? And that would be his downfall. You know, he thinks he can never lose, and that's a good mindset to have. But when I go in there and when the shots are flying at him, you know, and he's in a fight, then you'll realize, you'll realize.
Yeah, I heard him say that you were there too, like in the studio, that you don't drop people. So what do you say to that? When he says like you're not dropping people.
Oh, dropping people.
Yeah. I think you said that today, right?
Oh, yeah. But I said to him, like, I KO people though. You know what I mean? Like curly toes and that. That's what I give people. So when I hit people, I'm giving them curly toes and stuff. So Johnny don't really curly toe people like how I do, and that's it. You know, he's a guy that's gonna go in there and like box and hang off people and box and hang off people. That's what he does. You know.
It's a hell of a statement. You also there was a time when pretty recently actually that Gegard Mousasi, like that people were saying that he might be someone that could give Izzy a good run for his money, probably maybe beat him.
Yeah. And
then you beat him.
Yeah.
So do you look back at that and what did that do for you mentally as well?
Yeah, done a lot for me. And to be honest, I was more happy that I beat him over the 5 rounds than like taking him out in a round. You know what I mean? Because that kind of showed I can stay locked in for a fight for 25 minutes. You know, I've done 3 rounders before, but the extra 10 minutes, it can change, you know? So yeah, that said a lot about my skill set.
It's like more what you needed for this title fight.
Yeah, it's like perfect. You know, it's like you don't want to go into a title fight without like experience the 5 rounder. You know, I felt like that was perfect. I had a 3 rounder with Charlie. I had a 5 rounder with this one, and I feel like that's the experience that you need for title fights.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So there's been a lot of eyes on Team Renegade the last while now, and on Dave Lavelle, the whole team, and you're bringing attention both to some struggles that people in the kind of Midlands to north of England, but also people who have come to England from elsewhere. With all of that in mind, how has that kind of driven you in recent months towards this title, and how do you think it's going to affect the steps that you take next in your career, regardless of how this turns out? But do you think that maybe you see that there's maybe a higher purpose both for you and for Team Renegade in your community and in the MMA community as a whole?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like when you come from an area or you grew up how we did with like fuck all, basically, you want to be able to give back. You know what I mean? You want to be able to give back to the community and to the younger kids coming up, also to your family as well. You know, so yeah, that's what that's what the crazy thing about MMA, because you don't realize how much you can inspire people and do for people, you know. So I'm happy I'm in that position where I feel like I can give back and help people. And when I go out there and win on Saturday, that's gonna inspire more people. And yeah, that means a lot, you know.
As you've spoken, well, Leon has spoken about being from the trenches.
Yeah.
As in a Birmingham context, and I'm like, lads, you know, there's the bigger context there of being a family coming from Jamaican roots.
Yeah.
You know, like
we're not on about the Birmingham trenches though.
Yeah, but people do take it as being from Birmingham, you know, like rough area of Birmingham or whatever. But you know, that it's like from one struggle to the next struggle. And now you have an opportunity to inspire people so that it doesn't have to be a struggle for them.
That's it. Like I say, Leon spoke about it. Leon pretty much like kind of told our story. You know what I mean? Because his story is pretty much my story in the same way, especially how we grew up. So going like coming from Jamaica where it's like our house was small in this room. You know what I mean? They had to wash outside in a fucking like a bucket and water. To then come into England and like our dad passed in after like a year of being in England and our mum having to struggle and all of that. It's kind of mad when I look back at it. But I felt like all of that has built us to the men that we are today. You know what I mean? So it's inspiring for even myself looking at my own story.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Hey Fabian, you were obviously with us yesterday on the radio in FM 104. You seem to be almost enjoying it, having a bit of fun. Is that the way you've always been on Fight Week, trying to enjoy it, take it all in, or is that something that you've learned over the years?
No, that's how I've been. That's how I've been. I definitely have relaxed a bit, especially for my amateur days. I was a bit more, aggressive with it with Fight Week. But yeah, I'm calm, relaxed. My team, we always like to try and enjoy it because it's a short ride. You know what I mean? Before you know, I'll be saying I'm hanging the gloves up and everything. So trying to make sure we enjoy the ride as well.
And you mentioned the amateur days there. Can you pinpoint maybe one or two things that you've seen the biggest change or the biggest improvements you've made, almost not even just as a fighter, but as a person as well since you turned pro?
From amateur to pro, I would say like your skill set obviously grow, but you're just a lot more confident in yourself. You know what I mean? And when I feel like confidence is everything, so when you're confident in your skill set and confident in your team and you trust in them, you kind of, I don't know, it's like kind of wipe away any doubt that you have, and I feel like that's the biggest thing from amateur now. I've never switched top teams. I've always been in Birmingham. I've always trained pretty much under the same people, around the same people. And that's what's brought me to where I'm at now,
Hi, Fabian.
Yes, Baba.
Last time we spoke, it was at the Eiffel Tower in Paris. A lot of French people follow your story. My question is simple. You were underdog in Paris today too, for this week. Is this place such a better place for you to fight? Because it's like the story of Leon. Every fight at the big stage, you was underdog. So can you explain us if you feel better in this position as favorite?
I think I'm an underdog. I am, right? I think I'm the underdog. So all I know, it feels good to fight in front of the Irish crowd. I know that. I've been in Ireland before. I fought here. I've got 2 stoppages on my record in Ireland. So yeah, that venue's been good to me. That venue's blessed me with some good wins, and I feel like Saturday, like I truly believe on Saturday, he's gonna bless me with another beautiful victory. And yeah.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, so appreciate it, boys. And ladies,
Or resides.
Ciaran, back again for another big fight in the Tree Arena. You must be getting used to it at this stage, having another big fight here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's 7th one here now, so yeah, it's just becoming very familiar. It's actually nice to get to this hotel and just change it up a bit. You know what I mean? And yeah, he's just giving me a chair this time, so it's great. But yeah, no, it's great, and really looking forward to it.
It feels like every time we speak, we're speaking about your opponent changing, and finally, touch wood, this one hasn't, and you've been able to prepare for a full camp for him. How good must that feel to have that only a couple of days out now?
Yeah, well, the opponent didn't change, but this is actually a 140 now. So yeah, 10 days out, got the news, but like that doesn't, I was good. I wanted to make the 135, because this is actually the third fight that I haven't fought in a weight class. The Brazilian was 150. The one after that was 148. He didn't make that, so it was basically 150. And then now this one's 140. So yeah, kind of good. I wanted to see how it'd be. I just wanted to make the weight and on the way, but like that doesn't matter. It's probably everything happens for a reason. Make the 140, say you feel, and a few adjustments for the next one. So I'm feeling good. Like,
was this the first fight you were going down to 135?
Yeah, first fight, yeah.
And what was the decision behind that? You were obviously doing undefeated, doing really well at 145. What was the decision to go down to 135?
A few things. So first of all, I knew I could make it. Back in November 21, I was like getting really light, and I knew I could, I knew I could make it. And just, obviously, size myself up to other people and stuff. And I wouldn't have been really like that. But again, that would have been the second reason was, I'm fighting a bigger man every time, and like you can see, it's definitely giving away 10 pounds. Especially the catchweight fights as well. You know what I mean? And I know that the last guy was struggling to make weight, but no one was mentioning that he was fought welterweight and lightweight, and so. But yeah, like that was the second reason, and obviously then people are throwing at me, you could be fighting this person, that person next, and and I was like, well, those 10 pounds are going to make a massive difference. And then the third reason then was actually I had a conversation with Dan Healy, and just from that conversation, it was basically just from what I took from it was, for longevity, fighting the bigger man is worse than the weight cut. So I'm at a weight class here now. I feel it's fair game. I'm the same size as the guy now. You know what I mean? I'm not giving away height, reach, nothing like that. The boy. So some lads cut weight for the advantage. I'm actually just cutting weight for fair game. You know what I mean? So I wish I could fight the bantamweights at 66, but obviously that's not the sport we're in. You know what I mean?
Obviously, when you go down a weight class, you might have an advantage in strength and then maybe a disadvantage in speed. Is that a thing you've thought about in terms of both of those things, and finding the happy medium there?
Yeah, well, that was the thing. I was like, bounce it off John, obviously, and like I was like, oh look, it'd be more like, because they're going to be faster and quicker, and obviously my pace and my cardio, that has been the story at featherweight. You know what I mean? But going down the weight class, but he was like, he basically put it to me like, you're training with your brother. How many years you're training with, Bragaton on the daily, Franz Malambo, Brian Moore, who's out there going up now, obviously. But like, when you put in that perspective, it was like, yeah, that makes sense. You know what I mean? And always feeling good, and like that, I'm training with the best guys in SPG under John and Dave there. So like, yeah, like that. I put it into perspective. So I was like, yeah, happy days. But of course, like, you have to be aware of that. But as I said, I have the cardio, I have the pace, and yeah, just a few adjustments, and I'm really looking forward to Saturday now at this new weight class.
You mentioned John there, and recently John mentioned yourself and Danny McCormack as well as two of the people he maybe wanted to just bring up a bit and tell people about for the work ethic and where you've come from and where you've reached. How good is it to have something like that and to have John behind you, obviously, and mentioning you as one of the people he's, I suppose, most proud of working with?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Like, I don't know, you actually got a clip of me there. It was Andy was interviewing John, and I clipped it all up. It was a good, nice little 3-minute video. I didn't get a chance to post around because I actually didn't see it like a month after. But 2021, I think John said like his greatest win as a gym or a whole or that year, his favorite moments was when I bet Jordan Barton here in the Tree Arena, and that was actually really nice to hear. You know what I mean? And it just goes to show John does take me in, and like that, John has given me. I really feel he's put me ahead of he's really really looked after me, whether it become the sponsorships or opportunities and everything. I really owe John a lot. You know what I mean? And it's great to do, Jay.
I don't know if you agree with this, but I was saying on the podcast, I believe it's the last fight of your deal here, and you were kind of talking about, maybe potentially if Bellator doesn't re-sign, or it's a kind of influx of Bellator at the moment that you might have to go to the UFC. I was kind of saying that, the path you're on has been a steady increase, and that it will be for the kind of future of your career. It might not be detrimental, but it wouldn't be ideal for you to go straight into the UFC. Is that something you think about, kind of building yourself up more and getting yourself more ready, or if the UFC were to call, would you jump straight at the contract?
To be honest, I don't like answering them questions because I have to beat this guy now on Saturday, to be honest. And I'll be honest, I just can't answer that because I don't know what is going on with Bellator. I'm sure most of us don't. And even speaking to the head lads, they don't know themselves. But all I know is if I fight Saturday, I can't really think about anything after that. I mean, I'd rather be 8-0 having that conversation with you than 7-1, So, and that's the way I'm thinking about it. And yeah, it's very, very hard for me to answer that. I think I'm counting me chickens before they hatch, So it's hard to answer that. I'm sorry, yeah.
Take one from online here, Mills.
Hey, how's it going? It's MMA Locker Room, part of Pub Sports Radio. How you doing today, mate?
All's good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, man. Just a question, man. You guys got your whole team pretty much fighting on this card, so I need to know. I think the crowd's going to be the loudest when you walk out, but who's going to be able to get that second loudest ovation out of your team, out of your camp that's going to be walking out with you guys this week?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Hopefully we've all been getting the wins and building the crowd up until that point. And I think I'm at a right spot in the crowd for myself to have a good roar, and I'm bringing 200 plus as usual from Drogheda. So it's hard to say. Darragh Kelly's a good following. And obviously then I think, it's hard to not mention it, but I think if Peter Queally, comes out to the zombie, I mean, everybody's going to get behind that. And actually, each time I watch that entrance, to actually get the history behind that, the commentary did a great job that time. And I think it was, I think maybe Peter, I'd say, yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Sorry, boys. Thank you.
Against Waterford. Waterford.
Peter, another big fight in the Tree Arena. How much are you looking forward to Saturday night again to be able to get out there in front of your home fans?
I'm looking forward to actually fighting and having a camp this time and actually training for it. The last 3 fights, like, you know me, I never make excuses after a fight, but in the fullness of time, I feel like I can kind of divulge a bit of what was going on with me, and I had no business fighting in those fights, to be honest, especially the Ben one. Like, to put that in perspective, I had surgery on my shoulder in March. It tore again in July. I had to go back in and get my bicep cut in half and drilled through my humerus. Is that what's this one? No, is it? Yeah. And stuffed in there. This was in July, and I fought him then August, September. So I gave it my best go, but in hindsight, thinking back on it, it just wasn't me at all. So I'm looking forward now to reminding people I still have a bit of gas left in the tank, that I'm not that kind of shell that I showed in my last few fights. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
What was the reason, I suppose, for fighting through that? You know, a lot of people in that situation, they wouldn't even think about fighting. What was your reason for kind of going into those fights?
Well, what are you going to do? Not fight and then leave everyone? The thing was sold out. You know, I went in, I got that surgery done early enough that I thought I would be fine. It wasn't that I was just, I'm grand, whatever. But I got that done in March, thinking I have 6 months here to recover. And I was kind of told that probably will be enough. But then as I got closer, it was clear it wasn't enough. But at that point, what can you do? You've said you're going to do it, so you have to do it. That's in life in general. When you say you're going to do something, you should go through in your word and finish off what you've said and do what you said. So you can't just turn around and not do it when there's that much at stake.
I remember last time we spoke before the media day, before your last fight, you came into it and you're like, you know, you probably even admit yourself, you're a bit negative going into the fight, and it was, you know, it didn't seem like yourself. And even the walkout and the aftermath and all, it didn't seem like yourself. Was that injuries again, or were you just like at kind of a low ebb in your career at that point?
It was injuries again. So my shoulder still wasn't right. My shoulder only kind of came good May this year. So it took about 14 months for it to kind of come around. So that was February. So it was still kind of at me. And I was okay. It wasn't too bad, to be fair. But for that one, I actually tore my LCL 4.5 weeks before the fight. That one as well. So I didn't train at all for that one. Literally nothing. I was hitting pads, standing still for most of my camp there, and doing skier, standing still without bending my knees. That was literally what I was doing for that one. So I was just at a bit of a low ebb in terms of just mentality, and I was like, oh, I'm not ready again for this one. I was just down on myself that I'm getting so unlucky more than that, and feeling sorry for myself, kind of. And it actually went again in the fight on that take. That's kind of what I was actually doing well in that fight. I'd hurt badly at the end of the first round. I feel like I won the first round pretty easily. I remember even going in after the first round and thinking, this is going great. Like, this is pretty easy in comparison to my previous fights. It's going well. And then I hurt him again in the second round, and he shot a kind of a panic takedown. I don't know if you remember this, but I kind of went down awkwardly and I tore my knee again. And then when I got back to my feet, we were in the clinch, and I was kind of thinking about my knee, and that's what got me. So, you know, fair play to him. But again, I feel like this wouldn't have happened if I had actually been able to grapple and train and had a camp again. So
it seems like there's a bit of, as well as the physical recovery, there's a bit of a mental recovery after that one for you. Was that a big part of it as well? Kind of thinking like, look, I have to get back here. I have to, get back physically, but I have to kind of change the mindset again and get ready to kind of maybe climb that mountain again.
Yeah, and to be honest, it wasn't going very well after the last fight. I was just like trudging through training, but then once I got healthy again, it changed dramatically, very quickly. It was just like, you know me, I don't mind a bit of hard work and training hard and, you know, doing all that hard stuff. But it's when you can't do it and you want to do it, and you're doing a session, then you're taking 5 days off because you're in bits, and then you go back in again, you're not really making any progress. This is kind of taxing mentally. But once I kind of started getting healthy, started the summer, dramatically changed. John will tell you. I was even in the gym this week, sparring and everything this week. Just probably not that smart, but I felt good, and that's what I like doing. And that's the difference that you're going to see now this weekend is you're actually going to see Peter who's prepared again. You're going to see the Peter that beat Patricky the first time when I was actually training and hard training. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most now. It's kind of reminding everyone that I'm still there.
Just two more quick questions.
Yeah.
Obviously, your gym that you opened up yourself has now become one of the best gyms for amateurs and people coming through. And Conor McCarthy, obviously, is one of the guys you've spoken about before. Is that something that has really kind of helped you in your game and will help you maybe going forward to be kind of teaching the younger guys and even have those younger guys to maybe spar with or to learn with as well as you're going up? How much does that kind of change your game? And is it something you think that can help you going forward?
Yeah, it is good. I actually train with my guys every Thursday night, always Thursday night, but I sometimes get another maybe session or two in as well during the week with them. And what I've learned, I started doing it just to kind of help them, just so they'd spar with someone who's been there and a bit more experienced, and that rub off on them. But then what you learn quick is if you want to kind of keep up to date with the new techniques and you train with the kids and you see all this new stuff that's they're trying to do because they're watching, they're where I was 10 years ago, where you're staying up all night watching YouTube videos and that I just don't have the energy for anymore. But they're doing it, so you can kind of steal a bit of that off them. So it is good. I love that Thursday night session. We do a lot of rounds of sparring, nice technical sparring. As you said, I've got some really good young lads in there that have a lot of speed, a lot of hunger, and again, a lot of new tricks that I don't have my finger on the pulse on anymore, but you get it then off them, you know.
I want to ask you about Dylan Dennis, because obviously, and I wouldn't normally ask about that, but you're obviously good friends with Dylan Dennis. Yes, sorry.
We look alike there, but
yeah. Obviously, like he's involved in, signed to Bellator, but involved in a big boxing match up and coming. What are your thoughts on that? And obviously, you've tweeted a few times about him recently.
And my thoughts in terms of what not a lot has gone on with that.
Everything.
Yeah. But I think he's doing a good. You can say what you want, but he has people interested in it. So I think he doesn't get enough. I always say especially when other fighters kind of moan about him, that he's whatever, he gets opportunities perhaps that he's not that good and whatever they're saying about him. I said, instead of moaning about him, you could probably learn from him. Like I actually said, I tweeted there recently, I retweeted one of his tweets that he said and what he was saying. And I said, you can say what you want, but he's the best. He's literally the best guy in the world, I think, at promoting his fights. And loads of people messaged back and said, oh, what fights? He never fights. I said, exactly. Like, look, he hasn't fought in 5 years and you're still interested in him. So he's clearly doing something correct. So that's that. In terms of the actual fight, then I think it's a hard fight. I don't think Logan's very good, but he's big, he's strong, and he's fit. And these are things that can beat a better fighter very easily if the other guy hasn't trained. So it'll just come down to if Dylan has trained or not. The last time I sparred him was a couple of years ago in New York. We did a few rounds of boxing because he was actually preparing for, I don't know, was it Logan or KSI or one of these other fights he was talking about doing. And his technical ability was good. So it just matters now if he's actually trained. If he has trained, I think he can do well. If he hasn't trained, I think the physical prowess of Logan will probably be too much for him. But he told me he is trained, and I believe him. So hopefully that's the case.
You mentioned you had a lot of injuries over the last few years and things like that, and obviously coming in and picking up a loss where maybe you thought you should have won, and if you had been fit, you would have won. Was there any point where these injuries got on top of you and the mental side of kind of like losing multiple fights in a row got you where you kind of let your mind go to the place of maybe I don't want to do this anymore, or were you always, I want to go back and put things right?
Yeah, like after any loss, the thought process immediately is, that's it, I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore because it's so stressful, and you have a bad feeling and you don't want to go through it again because it's right now it's bad. But then you recover from that very quickly. But with the injuries after the Ben fight, that was the lowest part of it, I think, because I can't even describe how bad this shoulder was. It was I couldn't like get my hand over my head. Seriously, like it was like so bad, and it felt like it was never going to heal. And I thought it wasn't going to heal. I kind of thought I was going to be done just through injury. And then after the knee thing was annoying against Logan, but that was, I knew in my mind, I've torn my ACL before my other knee, and I know this won't take long. This will be 2 months and it'll be gone. It'll be in the rearview mirror. So once the shoulder kind of got like May, I had a big change around in May to if I was to be more succinct about it and just answer your question. Once I got to May and I actually started feeling better in my shoulder, that I could train, I could spar, I could grapple, and I could actually do enjoying things that I enjoy while training, not just pushing prowlers and doing all this kind of disgusting stuff just to try and get yourself in some bit of shape because you can't do anything else. Then I kind of got the love back for it again. And I enjoyed training. But yeah, I was pretty low after the Ben one, and especially that one because you get this big opportunity to fight Ben, and now you can prove I'm at this level, and I didn't prove it. I did the opposite actually. I got my ass kicked for 5 rounds, but I know that I'm better than that, and that's what really hurt. Is that people don't know that. They kind of just see, he got his ass whooped. He's just not at Ben's level, and that's it. But I know if I was fit, if I was able to train, who knows? Maybe I wouldn't be able to beat him. I don't know. He's very good, but it definitely would be much more competitive than what it was.
Peter, your last fight was my first time experiencing your walkout, you know, in person, and it's probably the best atmosphere I've been a part of in MMA for sure. Does that fire you up to the point that you're so hell bent on getting that win right now, to hear that crowd also like get a follow up to that?
Yeah, because it's always such a great moment, this walkout, but then the last few, it doesn't feel nice then when you fall short, and I almost feel like embarrassed then afterwards because you've had such a big ovation, and then you don't deliver, so it's almost like you nearly feel like a fraud almost kind of afterwards. So, but again, I have my reasons for that, as I've just explained. I feel like whatever, there was reasons there. So I'm looking forward to now just going out and enjoying the atmosphere, fighting to the ability that I know I can fight at, and just reminding people that I'm still very, very good, and I have ability, but it just, for whatever reason, injuries and different things, I fell short the last few times.
You're able to channel it positively then.
Yeah, I never feel like it. I feel like it's a good thing. I don't feel like it. People have asked me this many times, like, is it overwhelming or anything? I don't think it is. It is overwhelming, but you're always a bit overwhelmed in a fight, no matter if people are cheering for you or booing for you, if it's silent. Like even when you fight in these kind of Apex style shows where it's in a like no crowd, that's overwhelming as well. The silence can be kind of deafening too. So there's always pressure. So no, I love the walkout. It's always something I look forward to and enjoy.
At least that doesn't change win or lose, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a positive.
Sean took my question about Dana, so I better ask about your own fight. Obviously, a little bit lower on the card than you're maybe used to. Does that kind of take a little bit of the pressure off?
No, to be honest, still pressure. It's not. It's kind of no. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I noticed that it was different. It's like, oh well, I'm not co-main event or main event or whatever it is. You're in the prelims now. It's different. And it does feel like it's kind of, what have you done for me lately? You're kind of, see you now, you're back down here again. But it's whatever, it doesn't bother me. There's still going to be pressure. I'm still going to, obviously all the same things have to be done. I still have to win. The crowd will still be there. The arena will still be full. It doesn't change that much really. You
were telling me last week that there was a point in the dressing room where, you said to Arda, maybe this might be it, or maybe I might do one more, whatever. Now that you're reinvigorated, do you still have eyes on, Patricky 3 and maybe even moving back up the ranks and going for the world title again?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. You know what I mean? I do definitely feel reinvigorated. I feel John will tell you, like, if you bump into him in the hotel during the week and ask me what I'm like in training, I'm back to normal again. I mean, doing what I do, whereas I wasn't. If he was honest, he probably wouldn't. He'd probably protect me and not say that, but I was not. I was a shell of myself the last couple of years in training, to the point where I'm like, oh man, am I too old for this? All these kids are kind of starting to catch up to me and whatever. But then once I got myself right, I was like, no, it's not that. It just wasn't there. So I am reinvigorated and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to this.
The injuries, obviously COVID shutting everything down and everything. Like even before all of these last few fights, you had an injury in, I think it was 2019 when you were going to fight Terry Brazier. Like it's been a up and down kind of a 4 years. Once you get back now on Saturday night, is the aim of the game with Bellator or wherever, are you going to be saying like activity is most important for me?
Not activity, but like I would like to be active. I'd like to fight 2-3 times a year, but I'm at a stage now where that's enough for me, to be honest. 2 or 3 fights. I don't really want to be doing 4 and 5 fights like I was earlier in my career. So in terms of that, that the kind of schedule I have now of 2 fights, maybe 3 is fine for me. That's what I'm kind of been used to the last while. And not to get too ahead of myself. And then that's where you put yourself in trouble now. You try and push it too hard and you get all these injuries again. So I'm going to be a bit more sensible with my body now as well. And try and just train hard, but give myself a little bit of a break when I need it, and don't be kind of pedal to the metal all the time, which is what I used to be. Just for whatever reason, you just psychologically, you just do that. I don't even think it's beneficial. You just have to do it. You just have to train every day and train twice a day if you can. And it's just how we are.
Peter, just want to ask you about your opponent on Saturday night. Obviously, watching him, he's a good striker from the outside, a good wrestler as well. All of his losses obviously have been by a knockout. When you look at him, like, is he the type of guy that you like to fight against? That if you push the pressure on him, the finish is there for you?
Yeah, I do. I think I'm better than him everywhere. I think a big thing is experience wise. This is his first time having a kind of a really top level opponent, whereas it's not my first time, obviously. So I think that's going to be hard for him. But yeah, I do think I can keep the pressure on him. He doesn't like being pressured. He kind of panics a little bit, I think, when he's pressured. He's good when he's kind of doing the attacking. But I think I can put the pressure on him, and I think I can definitely KO him. I'm expecting to KO him.
And just on the song as well, last thing for me, there was a bit of drama over it between your last one and this one. Obviously, Reece McKee walked out to it, and you had a bit of a snipe at him, and he kind of came back at you. Oh, what's your, I suppose, thoughts on that now, a few weeks out from it all happening?
I regret that. To be honest, all I said was lol. And I don't even, to be honest, what I even meant by that was like, oh, that's kind of my song. You're stealing on me. You thought we were friends. That's literally kind of my thought process. I wasn't trying to have a snipe at him, really. But then because he had a snipe at me, I had to have a snipe at him then, kind of thing. So to be honest, Reece, you're welcome to use it. You did a good job with it. You're a great fighter. Reece knows me, and I told him that. I messaged him actually on the same thread. I said, I've always been a big supporter of you, and he knows that. And I am a big supporter of him. So yeah, I regret that, but whatever. You know what I mean? I don't care. Me and Reece, I'm sure when we see each other, he'll have the same opinion. We're not going to fall out over it.
Thank you.
Done. Okay, thanks, guys.
I'm going to get drama on there.
Ah, no. I'm not proud. I don't.
Guys, how's it going? Oh, no, I know it is. Danny, can I get a little bit of water? Glass of water. Just a little bit is good. It's perfect. Thanks.
Hi, Aaron. You've been in Ireland now for a couple of days. How are you settling in here?
It's been good. I've enjoyed it. Everybody's been nice to me, and haven't been, at night I get to walk around a little bit, but for the most part, it's been just kind of sleeping, training, getting the weight down, and everything's good. Everybody's nice to me, though.
Obviously, Pedro he's not Irish, but he's an Irish trained fighter and somewhat of a hometown favorite here, obviously training out of Ireland. What's the approach been, I suppose? I know you've a few teammates and people obviously who've fought here before. I know the big reception that he's going to get. Is that a part of your preparation, I suppose, preparing for maybe being the underdog in terms of the crowd reception?
Yeah, I think I haven't ever done this in my career as far as in MMA. Of course, in wrestling, I've been all over the world and I've wrestled, but I think as a MMA fighter, it's good for my development because I'm sure in the future I'm going to be in people's backyards and fighting, and they always say that the Irish are some of the best fans in the world, and I want the opportunity to put on a show in front of them. So it's going to be good. I'm excited though, but it doesn't play any. I mean, I wrestled all over the world all my life, and the fans can't fight for him. His coaches can't fight for him, so it doesn't make a difference. It's just him and I locked in there.
So you mentioned our development there, and you're almost a case study for development in mixed martial arts. Maybe being thrown to the wolves a little bit early, but then coming on and becoming one of the top fighters in the world over your last few fights. If you're like, let's say someone like a Bo Nickel now coming through, or other younger fighters coming through that are top prospects, like you are and obviously still are, what would your advice be to them? Like, would it be to take it slow? Would it be to go straight at it and from the very start and aim for the top at the very start? Or what would your advice be?
Yeah, my advice would be is to develop, and I mean, there's no rush to. If everybody looks at John Jones and is always like, I want to be the youngest, I want to do this. I mean, but that's an exception. That's one guy, and you have to just take it. Your journey's different. I kind of made that mistake early on, was saying I want to be a champion early on, but this game is evolving so much, and everybody's good. there's no rush. You'll be champion in due time when it's the right time for you. Like I said, just take your time, the right fights, and because it's a pain in the ass to get your confidence back. I mean, for me, I had to really dig deep, surround myself with good people, and come back, because my confidence was shot for a long time, and it's coming back for sure.
Obviously, you did another bit of a setback then. Obviously, it was a shoulder injury, so maybe something a little bit different. And then you had the performance last time. You said afterwards that maybe you weren't as happy with that performance as the ones in the past. Are you at kind of a stage now again where you have to bounce back again from maybe, obviously the loss, it wasn't a real loss, it was more of an injury loss, and then maybe a performance against someone who you maybe would have been expected to beat pretty easily, that, obviously went to decision and all that. Do you feel like this is maybe the third chapter of your career?
Well, I think the last fight, the decision was what was the decision? 29-27. I mean, it was a unanimous decision. So I beat him up pretty good. It just was hard to get out of there. But I'm not understanding your question. What is your question?
So like obviously you had the setback with the injury, and like you had setbacks early in your career. Before the injury, you were in like a great win streak and you're improving in every fight. Do you feel like it set you back, or are you still on the same trajectory upwards?
I don't think it set me back at all. I mean, I came back. Look at my year that I had. I had surgery, and then 4 months later, I was back in the cage and fought a tough guy. I mean, he's never been stopped ever in his life. So, yeah, he was tough, but I think I did good. I fought him on a week's notice. That's very difficult to do, and I feel good. Everything's clicking. I'm where I'm supposed to be for sure.
So certain injuries like dislocations and stuff, often you hear people having a mental block sort of coming back.
Yeah.
Did you do anything specific to get over that, or?
Yeah, with all due respect, I don't really want to talk about the injury anymore. I mean, it's past it. My shoulder's strong. I just fought a couple of months ago, and God willing, it stays in. But if I have that in my mind, there is no mental block. I proved in my last fight that I do with my left hooks as much as I could, and landed some hard shots. So my shoulder's strong.
You just did it by winning, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of hype on your name, of course. Like you're making up for lost time a little bit, a short amount of time. How do you not let that get to you, and you keep looking at every challenge one step at a time?
I don't know. I don't even know how to really answer that question. I think where I'm at in my career is perfect. I've accepted all challenges in my fighting career, and I'm one fight away from fighting for a title. I'm not going to put emotional value on that. I just have to get through Pedro, and I think you guys are going to see a new Bellator champion very, very soon. But we all know what the task at hand is Saturday, and I got to go in there and put on a dominant performance.
Do you have your team look at places to go afterwards, since you're fighting abroad?
No, just I want to get this victory, go back and get back home, see my son, and ride my horses. That's all I'm really focused on, honestly. I just want to miss my son, and I'll see him when I get home. But I want to go home with a victory, and it's always nice when you come home with a win.
Is there still a location you have on your bucket list that you want to fight at?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I like fighting. I want to go back to Madison Square Garden. That's where I want to go. I'm 0-2 there, and I want to redeem myself and get a victory in Madison Square Garden. That's on my bucket list. Yeah.
Rick. Hi, Aaron. Rick Wright, Albuquerque Journal. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Jackson Wink is spread kind of thin this weekend, at least geographically. You got Michelle and Dan Argueta fighting in Vegas, and you in Dublin. Who's over there with you? Who's cornering for you on Saturday?
The usual: Greg Jackson, Brandon Gibson, and Jordan Burkholder.
As you said before, you're not a stranger to jet lag and fighting internationally. Having Greg over there, who's cornered all over the world, does that help you at all?
Yeah, I mean, I love the coaches that I have in my corner. I've worked with Greg and Brandon for, I think we're going on 10 fights now. So it's the longest, it's a lot of fights we have under our belt. And I'm excited. I'm excited the team that I have here, and I'm comfortable. I'm healthy. Training camp went good. So Saturday night, I'm looking forward to the fight. And it's my birthday, so I hope it's a great birthday on Saturday.
Happy birthday. Without giving anything away, of course, what do you see in Carvalho? What does he bring?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't hear you.
Without giving strategy away or anything like that, what do you see in Carvalho? What does he bring to the fight?
No, I don't. There's really no secret to my style. My style is going to come forward and look to break him. And he looks to do the same thing, but I feel like my pressure is going to be a little too much for him. My wrestling, my striking. I don't think he's ever, he faced Pitbull, who's a very strong puncher, but I think my punching is very dynamic. It comes from weird angles, and my punching to wrestling is the best in the world, I believe. So I think he's gonna have a rude awakening. But make no mistake, he's gonna have a strong arsenal that I'm sure he's gonna look to use. But we're ready for anything.
All right, thanks, Aaron.
Thanks,
Patrick.
Hey, Aaron. So it's your first time fighting in Europe in the MMA sense, but it's not your first time competing overseas. You competed all over Belarus, Russia, Ukraine, Spain, and France. Were there any old tricks you remembered or used to adjust to the time difference for Dublin?
For me, what works is when I got here at 10 a.m. On Tuesday, and I basically just stay up probably till 12, 1 in the morning, and then go to sleep. And then I kind of just do it that way. I don't take naps or anything like that. That usually seems to work for me. Stay up as long as I can and get adjusted to the time. But I've wrestled all over the world, and I've flown in 2 days before and wrestled in a different country in the World Championships, and always done very, very well. So I don't really pay too much attention about jet lag and stuff like that. A fight is a fight, and then whether I feel good or not, I got to go in there and win. That's not an option. So if I don't feel good on Saturday, then you know what? I don't care. I got to go in there and fight and make myself feel good. So I don't use that jet lag or anything like that as an excuse. It is what it is. Feel good on Saturday and fight.
And Burnell said a couple hours ago that he would be interested in an interim title with Pitbull being out. Would you be interested in such an idea?
Who said that he would be interested in a interim title?
Burnell.
I mean, of course, I want to fight the champion. I want to fight Patricio. That's who's the champion. And if that's not available, I believe that there should be an interim title, because we don't want to hold this division up. There's too much talent here. And if I need to fight for the interim title, and then Patricio gets healthy, and then we fight for the title, I think that's ultimately what I would love. I'd love to share the cage with Pitbull, especially a legend like him. He's done great things in Bellator, and if there's one guy to beat in this organization, that's him. And I'm looking, and I want to do it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Johnny Eblen's here. Johnny Pressure Eblen.
Yep. Pressure makes diamonds. Yeah.
Johnny, welcome to Ireland. Obviously, you were here a few months ago watching the last set of fights. Do you feel like that was a good preparation for fighting here yourself on Saturday night?
Yeah, sure. I really like 3 Arena, everything. The fuck, bro? All right, let me restart that. Yeah, Dublin's a great city. Really enjoyed my time the last time I was here. Got to watch my boy Amosov defend his title. And, you know, it was a great performance. Really loved the crowd, the energy, everything about 3 Arena and the Irish people, man. I just really dig it. And I'm, you know, it's an honor to fight in that arena in front of that crowd.
I saw you were traveling around Ireland a bit this week. You went down to Tipperary. Was that good to kind of travel around and see a bit more of the country?
Yeah, man. There's a lot of stuff I haven't seen, and when I have a chance and I can travel a bit and see some things that I haven't seen before, I try to take the chance to do it.
Obviously, a lot of people spoke after your last few fights about you possibly being the best middleweight in the world. Now that Adesanya has obviously lost 2 of his last 3 fights, if I was to ask you straight up, I asked you at the time, you said you thought you are. Now you must think you are by far and away the best middleweight in the world.
I believe I'm one of the best middleweights in the world, if not the best. Obviously, I can't take anything away from my boy Sean. I'm like very, very happy for him. I was like messing with my team saying like, this is the champion we deserve. Like I like Sean and I like how he conducts himself, even though he's a bit crazy. He's himself and very authentic. And, you know, there's a lot to be said about authentic people nowadays. I feel like a lot of people put up an act and it's not really them. So, yeah, man, just shout out to that guy. I train with him a lot. He made me better. Hopefully I made him better. I think I did. Yeah, man, happy for him.
Is that sparring heavy style that he seems to have in preparation something you like to do too, or is it something you maybe learn from him to do or not to do possibly?
I love sparring, man. I spar a lot. I spar probably the most in our gym. Even when I'm out of camp, I'm getting like 9 rounds. That's 9 to 10 rounds. Obviously in camp, I'm kind of shortening it up, trying to stay healthy, and I do 5 rounds, but usually with 2 fresh partners, and I really push myself. So, yeah, man, I love to fight. I like being in the fire. I like competing. I like getting better at MMA, and the only way to get better at MMA is sparring.
Your opponent, Fabian, obviously you come from a gym that's known for having champions, and obviously you yourself being one with Fabian as well, obviously with his brother, now has that championship medal, I suppose, in training with him. Do you think that is something for him that is really helpful for his game as it's been helpful for yours? And have you seen kind of his progression maybe since Leon has even become champion?
Are you asking like you think he's progressing better because his brother has gotten the championship? Yeah, sure. I mean, his brother's a great fighter. I mean, he's a great fighter, but I just think I'm better.
What do you see in Fabian that maybe could cause you a few issues?
He's fast, athletic, good left hand, southpaw, has a good few tricks, tries to set you up with stuff, but he ain't gonna get me, man. I'm too slick, too good. I put pressure on people, I break them. I'm gonna rearrange his face with my fist, man. That's what I'm gonna do Saturday night.
I see, like, we see a lot of your fights and you know, a lot of wrestle heavy fights, but your hands have been really good over the last few fights as well. And maybe people don't, you know, recognize or admit that about your style. Do you feel like against Fabian that if it does turn into like a stand-up matchup that you can, you know, you can do well there as well?
Yeah, I'm not worried if it's a stand-up matchup. During this camp, I got to train with Artem Levin, and he's a 6-time world champion kickboxer from Russia, and he's a killer. He actually beat Alex Pereira, and that's one of my main training partners for this camp. And I stand and bang with him, man. I stand and bang with Sean Strickland. He's the best, one of the best in the world, just like me. Right now, the UFC champion. Just if you see the people I train with and how I can hang with them and even beat them at times, like you would, like, I don't doubt myself if there's a stand-up fight.
Hi, Johnny. We spoke last time at the Eiffel Tower in France. It's for the French people. You told me last time how Pereira and Adesanya can be easy matchup for you. We are a couple months later, and one of them is not even in the middleweight category and division, and the other one loses belt. what's happened this last month confirm what you told me a few months ago? Can we say that you're the most consistent middleweight in the world today?
Sorry, I couldn't catch the end of that question.
So are you the most consistent middleweight today, especially with what happened in the middleweight division?
I would say, yeah, as of now, I'm the most consistent champion. Yeah, for now. I mean, I only have one title defense, so we got to see where we go from here. You know, I just recently got the belt, so let's just let history play out, and then we'll see where it goes. You know.
Thank you very much.
Yep, no problem.
Hi, Johnny. What you're fighting away from home now? Does that add any magnitude to the occasion, basically, for you?
No real magnitude, just different. It's not what I'm used to, but that's what I like. I like to put myself in different situations because things aren't always going to be the same. So it's just a different challenge, and I'm willing to face it and take it head on.
Well, because you're undefeated and on this winning streak as well, I was going to ask you, like, what excites you? Like, how do you stay excited, and how do you set new milestones for yourself?
I'm just not done, man. I got a lot of things I want to accomplish, and this is just one step in the right direction. I have a lot of things I want to get better at, especially when it comes to my performances in the cage. And also, there's more money to be made. There's more wins to have. And there's a lot of competition out there that I want to beat. So, yeah, I'm far from over.
And you're training at a super gym, ATT, and now the gap is being closed between super gyms, like a lot of these big gyms, and the other ones. What is something that ATT has that other super gyms don't have?
Man, ATT is just very consistent. It's just a mecca. Like when you go to the gym, it's impressive. Like the mat space, the cage. They have 2 cages. We got a whole striking area, a weightlifting area. It's just Dan Lambert has put together a really, really great gym, and they're consistent because you have consistent coaches. You have a lot of consistent fighters in there. Some are there year round. Some come in when they have fights, but it's the consistency at the end of the day. Like for instance, Killcliff used to be Sanford, which used to be Black Zillions. They're moving over a lot. A lot of these other gyms, they don't have like the mecca like ATT does, and maybe their gyms aren't as impressive. But not to take anything away from those gyms, I'm just saying ATT is like, I think it's the best gym in the world, man.
And one of those people with you is Dustin Poirier right now. What's he adding to this camp for you, and what are you adding to his game?
Man, we just like to get in there and beat each other up a little bit, man. We like to spar. He's a good southpaw look for me, and I like to pick up some of his tricks. There's some things in fights that I execute now that he does. Honestly, I look up to the guy. He's a great person, a great father, just all around a great human being, and I'm happy that I'm like friends with him and I get to train with him and learn from him because his record and the people he's beat is unmatched. You know, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. But yeah, happy to be teammates with him.
Did you corner Kayla Rocco as well?
Yeah.
We sponsored her.
K-Rock.
So I was gonna let's give her a shout out. What do you think of her?
Yeah, K-Rock's awesome, man. She's always in the gym, always working. She's kind of similar to me. I'm always in the gym working. You always got to tell that girl to get out of the gym and heal up, and not to push herself too much. But yeah, I think she has a bright future ahead of her. She's game. Yeah. She'll fight anybody. Almost gets her in trouble sometimes, but she'll fight people outside of her weight class. But yeah, shout out to K-Rock.
Awesome. Hey, good luck.
Thanks.
One online here, Patrick.
Hey, Johnny. I was wondering, when you faced off with Fabian, it was very heated. Is there any animosity between you two going into this matchup now?
Yeah, I just don't like his face. I don't know, something about it. I just want to rearrange it with my fists and beat the shit out of him. Yeah, that's about it. He's just on my hit list now because he's the next guy in line. I just don't like the way he carries himself. I don't know, it's weird energy. I'm just gonna beat it out of him.
And adjusting to the time difference, your first time fighting in Europe, but you did make a few trips to Europe, just like where the Fabian face-off was. How thankful are you for having made those trips, and any tricks you learned on those trips that you've used this week?
Yeah, you just gotta get out there early, get used to the time change, kind of push through the first day. If you don't you don't sleep very good on the plane if it's overnight. So I just push through the first day and then adapt from there. And basically I'm on the time schedule out here now, and I feel good.
Thank you.
Santiago.
Hi, Johnny. Thank you for the time. Sabah Homasi and Roman Ferraldo are also on this card. And this
and
is, of
JJ
course, their...
Wilson. JJ Wilson, too.
Exactly. Yeah, I forgot about him. And, you know,
forget about
getting
JJ
back
Wilson,
to...
bro.
No, but getting back to Sabah, he's a little bit newer in the gym, by the way. That's why I forgot about it. But getting back to Sabah and Roman, this is both for both of them, their bounce back fight. They had a tough last outing. Does it feel good for them to have you, the undefeated champ, with them this time?
Man, it's great to have teammates, especially those two. Great energy, great training partners. They're good friends of mine, man. So we're just out here on a business trip and having fun and enjoying every moment of it.
And then, you know, Johnny, in the beginning of your Bellator career, it was a little bit tough getting ranked opponents, even though you were ranked. But then after the Salter fight, boom, it quickly, you know, it went like a rocket ship. How was that time for you to see that, you know, in the beginning you had to work your way up, but then after a while it went all really fast and Bellator really went behind you, you know?
Yeah, man, it's just kind of how my life has played out. I've always had to work hard for things I deserve, and I'm going to continue to work hard because I feel like there's a lot more for me to accomplish. So, you know, I'm still taking flight. I'm still going up. My stock's still rising.
Cannot wait to see you perform again. Good luck on fight night, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Johnny.
Peace. I'm going to go work out. Get this way.